Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to CARNY'S RIDE. CARNY'S RIDE, CARNY'S RIDE. Buck up, hit that like and subscribe. Sit down and shut the fuck up. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome to CARNY'S RIDE. Lights out, mask on the hole. Mask on the hole. Damn thing's been cursed since the day I was born. Everyone's fake, smiling like they ain't scared. Think candy and lies. Knives in the back, you came for a show. Now you're stuck. Step in the ring if you think you're tough. Bet your whole damn soul you ain't built for this stuff. I'll ride in rain or snow. If you can't hang, get the fuck on. Everything you got blood on it. Build this tent from the bricks on the wall. Everyone's looking at me, one for me to fall, but I keep riding. Been walking this mile for a long damn while now. Get the fuck out of stay and burn with the rest of us. Now it's time to tell you my story. Oh, we got 6 people. Cool. Hey, you guys. Good morning, Carney Riders. Morning, brother critters. Like, share, and subscribe. You guys. Also, don't forget to get your CARNY'S RIDE or gift out a CARNY'S RIDE membership. There's the link right there. Also, you can send donos to Cash App's CARNY'S RIDE, Cash App Carney Vanguard, or the PayPal Carney Vanguard. Also, get your Carney coffee cups and tumblers at this link right here. And if you want to go ahead and get your Carney Ride t-shirts, you get them at this link right here. Good morning, Missing Mod. How are you? I knew you were going to come in. You saw Wilson. You saw the Wilson name. Fuck the Wilson. I can't stand fucking Andrew. I just don't like the way he talks to people, honestly. Which is, ironic because we all know that that motherfucker would not talk to me like how he does behind the screen versus in person. Everybody's covering this fake debate. That's the reason why I jumped on the train too. My buddy Dusty Tyler, I saw he was doing, and then I actually looked at Candace's, and I saw that it's real. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. I guess I'll sit here and put my little 2 cents in.
I don't even believe that Candace really thinks Kirk was set up. You know, Candace has all kinds of ideas, but I just think it's going to be funny because the way she is and the way Andrew is. Oh, I've been waiting for this for a while. I want her to fucking just chew his ass out. Because he does deserve it. I have no. I can. I don't care about Andrew. Everybody that knows me knows that. Of all the important things they could debate, they chose the Kirk shooting. Yeah, I know. Maybe, hopefully they throw some good shit in there, not just about Kirk. They should just let the poor guy rest in peace. He did his cause. And a pack of bowl. Yeah, so normally I'm like all about being on screen and shit like that. Right now I'm like, you know what? I don't even have a shirt on. I'm trying to just chill, relax. All right, watch like everybody else. Hey, we got 13 people watching. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. If you're on the vertical side, double tap that screen. Would appreciate it. Remember, and it don't even cost nothing to get a like or the subscribe. So how's the mic sound? You guys hear me pretty good? Probably not. Probably like this guy sounds like he's talking in a tin can. All that kind of bullshit. Attention, please. Well, the real slim anus, please stand up. Sound is good. I appreciate Mod. That's cool. I'm glad you came over here. Oh man, I was like, I'm sitting here thinking, do I want anybody to come up on stage? Do I? Do I? Do I? Do I? I have no clue. I don't know what I'm doing. Even Jim Bob is covering it. Fucking Jimbo. Yeah. You know what? I didn't even see his pop up. Huh. I'm gonna have to go look over there. But yeah, I haven't decided where I'm gonna which one I'm gonna put up on screen. I might do it from Jim's now that you said something. I might do it from Tyler's, the Powder Dusty. Or I might just get it from the source and do it from Candace. Because everybody, well, not everybody, but those that know me know that I wouldn't even fuck with the Crucible and Andrews. I don't like putting. At first I'm like, yeah, this guy's all right, and then I saw the way he started treating people, and I'm like, yeah, fuck this. I'm the type of person that believes in Steven Crowder is covering it too. Yeah, you treat people good, people are going to treat you good. You start treating people like shit, guess what? People are going to treat you like shit. And that's how I feel about Andrew. And I know he's still got the following and shit like that, but that's his thing. And I'm happy for him when he could grift, like that, and get the audience and add the rhythm and all that goodness. Good for him. Kudos. But yeah. Funny how somebody will turn around and talk one way behind a screen, but in person, kind of reminds me of like the whole speakeasy thing. But anyways, anywho, as Alice Cooper said in his song, "Welcome to my nightmare." This is my fun. The carnival life. A ring a ding ding, 3 ring ding, 3 ring, ding a ding ding. Come take a spin on Carney's ride. Oh, we're getting there. Look, people are leaving. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna miss it. I'm gonna miss it if I don't go. If I don't go to that channel, I'm gonna miss it." No, you're not gonna miss it. You're not gonna miss the debate here. We're gonna throw it up on stage. Ooh, should I go fuck with? I should go over there by Tyler, the Powder Dusty, Blue State. Is he even on right now? Oh, he said, let's see. Come down. I'm here. There he is. I see it. You know what? Let's put it on stage. Let's see what their chat's doing. Yeah. Yeah, boy. Up on stage. Subscribe. Bam. Let's see. So we got the Patriot over there. See what he's up to.
Passion on big savings with hundreds of digital coupons. Like this
Hey,
one,
it's a commercial. It's a commercial.
Too much to do? Let Gemini in Chrome handle it. Let's start here. Auto Browse gets it done. Use
Oh my God, what am I doing up so fucking early? What are you doing up so early? This shit is terrible.
Terrible.
Good morning. We are, of course, waiting. Nobody's live yet over at the Restream destination. So shout out to the morning. Actually, it's early enough in the morning that probably some of you do catch like the ass end of some of my lives. It wasn't a full cycle, but it was definitely like longer than I just wanted to push all the way through. So I've got half a peach Red Bull left, half a pack of cigarettes, half a boner, and I don't know. I don't have anything else to fill that shit. Who's here? 30th Century Man. Good morning. Patriot. Good morning. Carney, good morning. 13, good morning. 10th, good morning. Kate, good morning. Gypsy, good morning. Did I say good morning to Crack Baby? Good morning. Vivid, good morning. Lobster, good morning. TML, good morning. God damn, even I'm tired of hearing.
Good morning.
Exiled and Sasquatch and Casper and Becca and Sean, long time no see. Good morning to all of you. Testicle Johnson, the best of mornings to you, and Abby, of course. It's always good to see my testicles first thing in the morning. Steelman, shout out for the bombing montage, but it's enough to get a courteous acknowledgement out of me. It's a lot better to see your testicles first thing in the morning than the worst. And I consider you one of my testicles. The least important one, though, to be fair. I said what I said. Candace can't win. It's an LL. For Wilson, it's a WW. They just fighting for the scale. Optics on attacking the window are never good in any lane. Yeah, the whole topic itself seems sort of like I don't know who can like it might be an endurance contest or something, because the debate is something that actually can't be won at this point, right?
Or if it's already
I don't
started.
see how it would be anything more than just them spinning and saying, no, my evidence is better than yours. But really, we're just talking about opinion one way or the other. I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what this is.
Klondike hits you with brutal
Commercial
cold.
time.
Can you survive? Build a warm camp and hold out until the first thaw.
Watching or subscribing. What? Hold on.
It's not what I want to watch. Subscribed. Yep, I am. Waiting. We're waiting. Look at this already. Let's see. What is this one? $200. Must be nice. Another $10. Another $10. You know, it's nice when I wish I could pull this kind of money. Like that. Another one. $5. Crazy. Another $10. Another $2. Another $2. $5. 20. Damn. And the grifting begins. Look at this. Bam, 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 bam. Fucking A. I haven't even started. Look at all that. Look at all those colors. Nothing but super chats. Look at that. It's crazy. Damn, another $2. Maybe we could go see what Andrews looks like too. Let's see. I mean, that would be awesome to sit there and get like grips like that, right? The Crucible, of course, it's gonna be the Crucible. Let's see, what does his look like? Look at all that. Nice. Yeah, nothing like what she's got. People showing off their members, but I don't see nothing about monies. Oh, there you go. There's a $10. Crucible got $10. And everybody throwing up their members. I've been here this long. Starting soon. Let's go back to Candace. Go back to her channel.
I'm David. I work for Chevron.
Hi, David.
This is my New Mexico. My hope for New Mexico is that we conserve its natural beauty. Working for a company
So we
that
got-
values that, it's one of the things I love about
So
Chevron.
right now with the grifting, we get Candace with
Have you
all
ever
the
wanted to see
monies.
your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can zoom right down to your
We have over on the Crucible. People showing how long they've been members. It was like only $10 over there on the Crucible. Let's see what's happening over at the Powder Dusty. Oh shit, we got comments. Sure. Okay, let's go to comments. Hey, what's going on, Jamin? Getting ready for this debate against Candace Owens and Andrew Wilson about the Kirk shooting or whatever. I just want to see Candace just put this guy in it. It'd be nice to see her just make him bow down and shit like that. That'd be funny as fuck. But yeah. I mean, she's already overpowering him just in the grifting alone. Fucking went over to the Crucible and all he had was people showing how long they've been members. Come over here and bam, this thing is all colorful and everything. Between $50, $20, $10, $5, $2. I mean, just super chat after super chat after super chat. It's crazy. Look at that, more. Boom, there's a $50 bet right off the bat.
even pouring a bowl of cereal.
I mean, let's see.
What if you pinch mid push? These are questions that are above my pay grade. I don't know.
So
that only happens to amateurs, sir.
So
good to see you're on it, Flo. I can't wait to see this Muppet made an example of.
Not like
yeah, I think that
on
like
his, you know, he's not the one debating.
I do think that he's at a disadvantage, right? In my mind, like Candace is for sure the favored team to win. But to cast what I think was Casper's point earlier, just from who each one of them are, like I agree. He could just completely fuck up this debate and still.
He probably will. He probably will. Let's see where where's the Crucible at right now. Let's see. Oh, I see some money, or I see all gifts. It's funny now we see gifts. Yeah, he's getting a lot of gifts. A lot of jewels. Not much on the monies. Oh, man. He's already getting his ass whooped just in the funds alone, man. Okay, let's see. How many are watching right now? Okay, so he's got 2.9, almost 3,000 fucking likes. He's got 9,600 watching. 9,600 watching.
You're one sentence away from launching your website with Base 44. Since the beginning of the internet, there's never been such a fun, fast, and intelligent way to launch your blog. Landing pages, content.
Look at that. 128,000 are watching on Candace. Damn. She's going to eat them up, spit them out. Damn. The great debate. Look at that. Bam. Look at the grifting. She hasn't even made an appearance yet. And boom, look at all that money. Look, bam. Another monies, you know. Bam. Another one. Another one. Another one. Another one. Bam. Here's a little $2. Another $2. $2. That's $6. I mean, within seconds. There's 5. Another 2. Another 2. Another 2. Another 10. Another 5. 2. I mean. She's just racking up that money. You know what? Speaking of money, I need some money too.
I can't do this. Just get the money part, all right? Just get the money part done. Give me money,
Money me. Money now. Me a money needing a lot now.
Yes, I need the money. Send me the money. I could use the monies. It's just crazy when you see that, you know, those super chats just bling, 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 bling. There's no cha-ching, cha-ching. Oh, man. Cha-ching, another one. I mean, we could go back over to the Crucible. You know what? Let's go to Powder Dusty. I want to see how my buddies. I know he's got to be talking some mad shit.
Find what you need faster with the in-store aisle locator in the Market
Look
Street
at that.
app.
I saw that. He's already
Take a photo.
he's making more money than fucking Andrew is. Let's see.
What's it on? It's like give fun go or some shit.
10th man.
Give send go.
He's in here and Rick Casper. Mike 23.
What's the deal here, man? We're 16 minutes past the starting time. I woke up.
Hasn't started yet.
I know, like, I feel personally a little bit disrespected at this point. I hate mornings. I hate morning people. I hate that these fuckers, through some miracle of compound stupidity, decided to stream this shit to make this a morning stream. A base that likes to spend money on him. I am surprised kind of that it's not higher than that.
Well, he has been grifted pretty hard as of the past, 8 or 9 weeks. He's got lawsuits and stuff to deal with. He's got attorney's fees. He's got all kinds of stuff. So he's been pushing it pretty hard.
He is. And, you know, you know, because you're one of us. But as content creators, right? We're contributing to a YouTuber is the very utmost disposable of income for people. So if there's like a little bit of a weak economy, like it affects into our bottom line. And he might be at a way bigger pay scale than me, but the mechanics of how you're impacted by economic shifts are the same. So I'm going to assume that he's had kind of a slowish few months, right? Like I have not going out and applying for any extra government subsidies, but just kind of been not anything too crazy. But he's got a lot more of expenses, right? Because he does have the lawsuit, which ain't cheap. He did just buy a expensive new house that he's bragging about shortly before the lawsuits. He does.
Can we discuss the concept of a humiliation ritual?
We might as well. We got time.
Later.
Apparently, Andrew and Candace are fucking late to their own shit.
You know they've got to solve all their disagreements before they get started. If they don't, it's not going to do anything, and then we're stuck here. Actually, let's go for this one. Yeah.
So, what about the humiliation ritual? Did you say something that I missed, or?
No, actually, it was something I can't remember who brought it up last night. It might have been Snafu or somebody. Anyway, talking about those. Anyway, do you remember the whole John Cena event?
John Cena.
So John Cena said something about Taiwan, and China took offense to it. John Cena had to do a public apology
Oh, shit.
Dennis Rodman's always been tied up with the Chinese Communist Party.
Anyways, go ahead.
Here's some money for you, Carney. I got you.
That's when John Cena's acting career went from being the big tough guy in the corner to the silly tough guy who always gets his ass beat. And the theory was that what China was a series of humiliation rituals to prove his loyalty to the party or some such. Now, that's the tinfoil hat behind the gas station huff and paint theory, right? But when you lay that alongside dozens of other brands and whatnot being drugged through the wide open skies, he's got a story to tell. A throttle to turn, hit that subscribe button and watch the rubber burn. Yeah, this is Carney's Ride. So when they save face, it is a life and death thing to them. And so to humiliate oneself willingly is the ultimate execution of manipulation and authority. It proves to your enemies that your enemies are actually beneath you because you can make them do these things themselves.
Okay. So it's like a big dick.
So yeah, I think it's funny. I'm over
it's
here.
very sun when it comes to the art of not waging war.
Andrew Wilson.
Right. You win the culture war, you don't have to win an actual kinetic war.
I think Candace,
and that's part of what we've been facing over the past 15 years is a very financially secure, strong arm in certain political spaces. And I'm not dividing it between left and right. I'm saying that the execution of that funding was delivered across the board to every
Mod. And I still like what Mod said, this fake ass debate. They could have debated against anything.
So that's where we're at now. A lot of people point at that and go, Project Mockingbird, but these are not the Americans.
Oh my.
It's really the communist elements of America sympathizing with the Communist Party of, CCP, and all that. When the whole lockdown
I just feel like you just made the narrative of what you were talking about way bigger than
I'm missing Mod over there too.
Well, the humiliation ritual concept has been ensconced.
You're saying that that's an Eastern concept, so it would just
well, it's not all Eastern. I mean, the Indians have a similar sort of thing. The Japanese, of course, Koreans. It's just that the Western concept of saving face is different. Like, we're perfectly willing to take the L if it means that the side that we're on, our family or whatever, takes the big win. We'll lose a battle in a heartbeat, and so Western people in general.
Are we live? Okay, so we're officially live.
We have some activity taking place, at least on Candace's channel.
Yeah.
And they're both in the same room, sitting in my grandmother's chairs.
Wait a second. Hold on. Let's switch screens. It looks like they're live on yours, but still working on mine.
Of course, I get a commercial.
Overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson shot and killed Charlie. This is.
Come on.
This is truly for three different people. Number one is anybody.
That's fucking real.
Work with him for many years. You guys were friends. You've said a lot of good things about Charlie, respectful towards him. You guys may have disagreed on some things, but you got a lot of respect for him. The second audience is the folks out there, that's watching this. And so for you've been wanting something like this to take place. And kudos for Andrew for coming out and saying, hey, I want to have this conversation, and for Candace to accept it. So you have the ability to say, agree, I disagree, comment, do all the stuff that you're doing online.
This is
You wanna
cool if
support
they're
us,
doing
that's
it face
any
to
of the 3 channels,
face
subscribe to the
too.
Candace Show.
Now behind the
Crucible, I'm
screen.
sure some of the people from Crucible are watching as well, and the people
Get
on
him,
podcast.
Candace.
The more you subscribe to this, the more we're able to deliver these types of conversations to you. And last but not least, it's about the two of you. My goal is to speak as little as possible. 99% of the time, it'll be you guys speaking, and the audience will be able to see it. If I jump in, just so everybody knows on the back end, both have agreed. In the back, there's 3 people representing Andrew and 3 people representing Candace to do fact checking. So at any point, if somebody makes a claim, the other can say, can we fact check this? I can jump in and say, fact check this. Even the folks in the back can say, fact check this. So it is a very fair conversation that we're having here. And so with that being said, kudos to Michael Knowles. Your name was mentioned a lot. You missed out right now. The last 10 minutes, we talked about you. There's a lot of love and respect here mutually from both parties, all 3 of them here. And then, of course, the great Joe Rogan that started this conversation. And he also volunteered, but it ended up being this format that we have here today. So with that being said, Andrew, your claim is overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk. Opening statements, opening comments.
Sure. And what I mean by overwhelming is I just find it very convincing. That's I think that's what most people mean when they say overwhelming evidence. So I have a brief opening statement. On September 10th, 2025, Charlie Kirk was murdered. Many of you already know a lot about the events which occurred after Kirk's death. You remember the ghoulish laughter, celebrations, and madness we saw from leftists all over, from TikTok invasions, debates, posts on social media, destruction of memorials, and things like this. Within weeks of Kirk's death, a cottage industry began to form, peddling various alternative theories on how he died. What special interest may have killed him, what nations were involved, and was our own government one of them? Because this was the first nationwide traumatic event in Gen Z's lifetime, the demand for answers was severe and palpable. The leading theory from the conspiracy verse is that Israel worked with the United States government to murder Charlie Kirk. Within a day or two of Kirk's death, Ian Carroll claimed that Israel killed Charlie Kirk, and the conspiracy caught on like wildfire. This theory was built on one misleading piece of evidence, that in his final days, on or around September 8th, Charlie sent a text message reading, "Jewish donors play into all leave the pro-Israel cause." This was sent in the context of a platforming dispute regarding Tucker Carlson. From this scintilla of misleading information, it was speculated that Israel killed Charlie Kirk because he would have successfully opposed the Iranian war. Now, that's a fun theory, and who doesn't like a good, fun conspiracy theory? I like them. But there is no evidence that Israel actually killed Charlie Kirk. And if Candace has some, I'd like her to actually show it to me. I'm open to suggestions, but to date, there hasn't been any. There is, however, tons of evidence that a leftist killed Charlie Kirk, just as Charlie feared they would. I believe Charlie Kirk, and I have the receipts. No, I didn't have a dream where he came to me and told me that the left killed him. No, he didn't come to me a dream and say, Candace Owens betrayed him. That never happened. In fact, I don't need dreams of any kind because I hold in my possession never before seen messages from Charlie Kirk to his security team on September 9th, 2025. I'm going to share the message with you today, which is the first time this information's ever been publicly revealed. On September 9th, Charlie's security team wrote to him, yes, law enforcement has been fully supportive and agreed to a security plan and posture. Tomorrow's event will be covered by both my team and the campus PD. If additional support is required, patrol units will be available. I have 11 on site. Charlie responded with this, okay, great. Remind them that they are there for one person's security only, because I'm somewhat worried the left is trying to kill me. That was a message sent September 9th. Whatever could he have meant by that? Well, I think he meant exactly what he said, that he was worried the left was going to try to kill him. Now, we'll discuss this more later on in the debate, and maybe I have more never before seen evidence that exposes just how wrong and, in my opinion, idiotic many of these conspiracy theories have been. But that's what happens when you rely on what's called the evidence of the gaps. In other words, they don't have evidence. They seem to just make up evidence. And what did they make up? Well, in my opinion, kind of whatever lined the pockets. And I think it's ghoulish to profit off of the death of a good man. But we came here today to debate. And so let's get to it. The debate topic today is 1, my belief that there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk, and 2,
Eve to me is basically freedom. It's a giant open universe where you can do whatever you want. You can have really relaxed, slow-paced stuff where you can take it easy.
Stupid
Or you could
commercial.
be on the edge of your seat, shaking, making split-second decisions. This is Eve. You know, it's a crazy universe where anything can happen, and however you want to do it, go for it.
she claims that there's more evidence that Tyler is not guilty of murder and was set up as a patsy than there is for the state's case. And I just think that that's absurd. And she will not be able to demonstrate that in any way. In fact, she has almost no real evidence at all of her theory, whereas my theory is supported by compelling witness testimony, physical evidence, multiple confessions, all of which are independently compelling, but which are even more convincing as each piece of evidence corroborates the others. You'll notice the term overwhelming was included in both theories. This is because Candace demanded I defend my use of that term, which I think is fair, in describing the evidence against Tyler Robinson. She, on the other hand, only wanted to defend her theory as merely viable. That is, until I showed her clips in which she said she believed the evidence of her theory, that Tyler Robinson's a patsy, was supported by overwhelming evidence. Only then did she agree to defend that position. Regardless, we're both defending the claim that there's overwhelming evidence on our side, so it's worth defining that term. When I say the evidence against Robinson's overwhelming, all I'm saying is that I mean that as of right now, I find it very convincing. I see almost no evidence at all, only speculation on verified claims and suggestions of things that could merely be hypothetically possible. Dreams, vibes, feelings, things like this. Almost done, by the way. I have no problem defending the state's case and welcome Candace bringing up any challenges she would like. But if I'm honest, the reason I was willing to pay the $300,000 for this debate was to finally have a chance for someone to demand Candace be held accountable for the unbelievable theories and claims she's been making. Candace's investigation is indistinguishable from a leftist operation. She couldn't be doing more damage to the right if she were trying. She uses her considerable platform to relentlessly attack one of the most influential conservative outreach organizations for young people, and she's making a mockery of the online right-wing commentary class. She's harming Republicans in an election year by dividing them. She's attacking the very organization Charlie spent his life building, and she's attacking the people he loved, including his wife. And it cost me $300,000, but today I hope that she finally answers for some of that.
Thank you, Andrew. Candace?
Did you get it out of your system?
I did.
Okay, great. Well, I'm not going to waste time with the preamble because I think I just want to get to the substance of the debate, and I will just speak to the audience. I've obviously had an audience since we've been covering this case. People know that there was a personal friendship between me and Charlie, and diminishing the pursuit of something that makes sense regarding what happened on September 10th. By throwing it to, this is just people who are conspiracy theorists. These are people who are just trying to generate clicks. I don't think that people should be satisfied by that. I want people to remember that it's important to think. We've been lied to by the government a great many times over, just the last couple of years, if you just think of the things that we've learned about our government. And I do want to say this, what's been the most disturbing element, I think, for everyone is that not only does the narrative not make any sense, which I'm going to demonstrate, I don't need to waste time with the preamble going through the points or trying to insult you or pretending that I've been running a podcast saying it's just dreams and vibes like I'm Miss Cleo. And that's the reason why it's taking so many influencers. It looks like $1 billion industry of influencers to dispute everything Candace says. Is not because I'm on my platform saying I had a dream last night. I don't think I think that diminishes you as an argument. Obviously, we have presented a lot of evidence. You just presented a text message and said, this is evidence. Well, that's how this entire thing began. You're talking about how Israel got into the conversation. It was because immediately after Charlie died, one of the first things we saw was this push to make us all think and remember how much he loved Israel. It's because the prime minister of Israel, who's fighting like a 27 front war, felt that he needed to come do a little mini tour and to be strangely to state that I did not kill Charlie Kirk, when nobody was having that thought that I can remember. Nobody was going, I wonder if Bibi Netanyahu killed Charlie Kirk. And then we had a round of influencers who lied and said Charlie was not changing on Israel, that he wasn't having any disagreements regarding that topic, that the day he died, he just loved Israel so much. And I demonstrated via a text message, which you just mentioned, and you're now contextualizing and pretending it was just about Tucker Carlson, which is not true. It was a part of a broader shift that Charlie was having over the last, I would say, actually on your show, it began since October 7th, which is when I began asking myself more questions about Israel as well. And so, yeah, when all of these things happen in the immediate aftermath, and then I drop a text message after everyone is denying that, Tucker Carlson then comes out and confirms the conversations that he had with Charlie. Megyn Kelly then comes out and confirms the private conversations that she had with Charlie. People then begin to ask a reasonable question, which is, why are we lying about this? If they were forthcoming with that and they had said, hey, yeah, Charlie was starting to ask questions. I think after October 7th, it's reasonable that people are starting to re-examine our relationship with Israel. We wouldn't be here today. But it has been lie after lie after lie, debunk after debunk after debunk. Yes, I did share that I had a dream that Charlie was betrayed. It's not a dream anymore. It's a reality. I look at what the organization has become, the people that they are partnering with, the lies that they are telling, the extraordinary people that they're sending out to say that I hadn't speak to Charlie since 2018, and it begins to look like a conspiracy. And just as a historical fact, that entire term was created by the CIA to gaslight people after the assassination of JFK. So it's not exactly one that makes me nervous. Like calling somebody a conspiracy theorist is essentially saying that they demand further answers. They're not accepting the Fed slop. So I'm grateful that you came today. I don't need to, like I said, take cheap shots and discuss your manner of debate or your strategy. And I'm also grateful that you shared that you had that text message today, because everybody watching knows that I have been demanding not a debate, just an open conversation with Turning Point USA. They should be here. It shouldn't be you in that chair. It should be the person that took Charlie's place, maybe Erica Kirk, maybe Andrew Colbert. He's a spokesperson. And rather than doing that, they send us another influencer. So let's see how it goes.
Just out of curiosity, are you between 0 to 100? What is the likelihood that you think Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk and killed him?
Based on the evidence right now, I don't know. I'd say 75, 85%.
Candace?
0%.
0%.
I'm at 0.
So
with what we've seen in terms of the evidence, I'm at 0%.
So not only, that maybe somebody was behind him as a patsy influencing him. You're not even saying that he didn't even shoot Charlie Kirk.
Right. I would, if you said, was he involved that day, as
Right.
I have consistently said on my platform, I would say, yes, he was. I don't know what role he played, but as the shooter, 0%.
Do you have any evidence for it?
For what? My percentage?
The fact that he didn't shoot and kill Charlie Kirk.
Yes, which I'm hoping we're going to get to all of the evidence that he feels that he has. I mean, I'm not even convinced that Charlie was shot from the rooftop on Losi that day, based on the evidence that has been.
Do you think he was shot?
I do not think that Charlie was shot from a 30-06 from Losi.
But just shot at all.
I don't know. I think that a projectile hit Charlie, and I'm open to other people's presentations, but I have not seen any compelling evidence that Charlie was shot by a 30-06.
Can we see, maybe if we're going to have an olive branch to each other, if maybe we can establish what we consider the facts of the case to be first?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So you're not sure if he was actually shot. You're open to alternative theories.
He was definitely hit with a projectile of some description. If we're talking about, was he shot from a gun, a 30-06, I would say definitively no.
Okay.
It defies common sense to think that he had a Superman neck. And even if he did have a Superman neck, which has been demonstrated, I think actually recently a YouTuber actually set up Valhalla steel cages and shot it and it went through. So under no circumstance will I.
So at least not a 30-06.
Definitively not. A 30-06 from Losi, 150 feet. No.
But you're not necessarily closing off the avenue that he could have been shot at all.
With maybe a smaller
caliber. Okay. And then there's some things that I'm going to make concessions on that I do think we need more answers on, and I'm fine with that. And we can get to those things as well. The other thing is, in the timeline, one of the things that we dispute, I think, on the timeline is that you think that in the timeline, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And what's the compelling evidence that you think you have there?
I spoke to the owner of the restaurant, and I have seen the receipt. I know the conversation that I had, And I think it's enough that, you know, it will be presented, obviously, if this goes to trial. But yes, I do believe that he was in Penguin, which is near his grandparents' home.
Did he give you an unedited copy of that receipt?
I have seen an unedited copy of that receipt. It was not given to me from the owner. But I want to, before we get into like all the timeline stuff, I want to address what you think is evidence so we can keep this on par with what your claim is. Since,
well, I think that that's a piece of evidence that's in dispute. And that's why I'm
but we're trying to get to whether there's overwhelming evidence that Tyler Robinson did this.
Yeah,
so whether then starting with
if you want to use the first part of that for the internal critique,
we should go over the actual evidence that we feel.
The first reason that I think it's compelling evidence is that Tyler Robinson's rifle was found near the crime scene. So I would consider that to be very good evidence. And also the fact of the matter is that I dispute this claim that a 30-06 could not have made this wound. I think that that's absurd. 150 grain Remington core lock absolutely could shatter when it hits the neck of any human being. When you say that there's some steel neck and it's a smaller caliber, you have to make a counter explanation. Why wouldn't a smaller caliber also go through bone?
It could. I didn't say it can't.
Right, exactly. So if that's the case, then ammunition is going to be the critical key here. And if we have frangible ammunition, which we do in this case, a flex tip round, well, I'm sorry, not a flex tip, a soft point round from 150 grain Remington core lock, that's just a small jacket that goes around the actual lead piece. This thing could have split apart in air for all we know. But definitely upon impact, and we have the medical examiner who confirms this in a summary, and my team can bring that up, the summarization, which means he would have to be a part of some kind of conspiracy as well.
Okay, so just to start with your point about saying that the gun was found near him, near Losey Center, or I guess off in the woods. That gun, did you watch the testimony? Did you watch the preliminary hearing?
Yeah, we covered it live. Yeah.
Okay, so forgetting what the summary of the medical report was, did you watch the testimony that was given by the Caitlin Oliver, the ATF woman, Samantha Carner, any of those people who went?
The agency playbook is gone. Write your own rules with Base 44. The expectation shifted. Clients want more, faster, and they're not compromising. The agencies that keep up are the ones rebuilding how they work. Here's how it looks. A client asks for a landing page. You hand back the landing page, plus a CRM dashboard, workflow automation, an in-app agent. Every brief becomes an offer they didn't know to ask for. And the clients are only half of it. You're also building your own operation. Client onboarding, project templates. You build it once, and the whole system runs tight. Each build hands you a head start.
I can't believe how much they want for
super agent that
premium
handles
now.
the back and forth. It's another member on your team, proactive, already on it, chasing the feedback, sending the updates, booking the next call. A 6-week project done in 6 days. Taking on briefs used to pass on. Same team, bigger output. That's Base 44.
I was never an Army sniper.
Okay. What did you do in the Army? Did you teach this? Then I corrected it and said you taught rifles in the Army?
No, I didn't teach rifle. No, I taught rifles as a private citizen.
Okay.
And I was an NRA instructor for many years alongside my gun shop.
As with your expertise, when she gave testimony on the stand, Samantha Carner, that there was dust and there was debris that was found in the gun barrel.
Yep.
And then when we had the person who, and this was, I believe, Caitlin Oliver, who explained painfully about the DNA, the prints.
Well, let's start with a point at a time.
I'm not done. You said something, so I'm going to finish my thought, right?
You don't want to do a point at a time?
No, well, sure. If you want to respond to,
Well,
I want you to respond to 2 points. I want you to start with 2 points.
Okay.
Dust and debris in the gun barrel.
Yeah.
Secondly, the fact that there were 5 sets of prints, 5+ actually by the end of the testimony, 5 sets of prints for which we already had the woman who worked for the FBI forensics testify that above 2 prints, if you're taking a sample, it's no longer a science, right? She testified that when they took the sample of what was on the trigger, they saw 5+ prints. And among those 5+ prints, Tyler Robinson's was the most degraded. So I would like you to explain how Tyler Robinson's prints could be the most degraded when she said, actually, you could have DNA on something that you've touched. You could have DNA on something that you've never touched. And to get DNA degradation, they've looked at pieces and items, 20 Robinson's prints, 5+ other prints were the most degraded on that weapon.
Yeah. So let's get into all three of the claims. First, with debris. When it comes to debris, firing rifle doesn't always blow the debris out of the barrel.
Okay. You think there could be debris and dust.
Yeah.
He just fired the weapon.
Sure.
Okay.
Not only that, he left it in a forest. Now, I don't know if you agree with me, but if you leave a rifle in a wooded area, it's also possible that debris could get in that way. But I'm not even sure that that's what the case is. I think it's far more likely that he fired the shot. It just didn't blow all the debris out, and it often doesn't. You'll find this if you take Grandpappy's dirty rifle, and it's all dusty inside the bore, and you go fire it. You'll often look down the bore, and there's still dust.
Okay,
happens all the time.
Okay, and the prints?
Yeah, so the prints we don't know all of the details on just yet.
We do. It was excruciatingly long. Testimony on the prints.
We don't, because they haven't gone to trial, so we don't know on the print front. But Tyler Robinson's DNA was on there. You made the claim that Lance Twiggs' DNA was on there, and it was not.
Well, when she gave the testimony, no. Hold on. First, let's go to your first point, because that's wrong. We can get a fact check on that. What do you mean we don't know until it goes to trial about the degraded prints? She testified, and this is the person who took the prints.
Yes, but the problem is that inside of this particular testimony, you agree with me that there's going to be much more of the DNA analysis during the trial, right?
But you also would agree that her fact is not going to change, that among the prints, his was the most degraded. So I'm asking you to address that. How could that be possible?
Let's give it, let's just grant this for a second as a possibility that his fingerprints were degraded.
No, it's not a possibility. It's a fact. The person who took
hang
it.
on. I'm just granting it for the sake of argument.
You should grant it because it's a fact that
so
she
now,
presented.
So now it's granted. So what?
What do you mean, so what?
Yeah, so what? What does that prove?
It proves that if his prints were the most degraded amongst 5 of them, you're going to have to explain how that's possible if he's the one that recently fired the weapon.
Yeah, so wait a second. You're saying that it's an impossibility that if his fingerprints are the most degraded.
I'm telling you to explain it. You're the gunsmith.
Well,
so
wait a
explain
second.
it.
How would a gunsmith give an analysis on fingerprints or DNA? Do you think that I work in a DNA laboratory
So
with
your
fingerprints?
answer is I don't know. You can just say you don't know.
But
you
I
don't
did.
have to.
But I did.
No, you said so what? So
Yeah,
say
so-
I don't know. I
but what
actually
would
don't
that-
have an
what would
explanation
that
for that,
prove,
Candace.
though, is my question.
Well, I think that what it would prove is that it is a more viable theory that people who had stronger prints on the gun may have used it more recently.
Did they say who else had fingerprints on the gun?
They named Matt Robinson explicitly.
Okay.
And this was a part of the testimony where she was speaking about how they got samples of elimination samples from the home of Amber Robinson, Matt Robinson, and Lance Twiggs. Those were the 3 names they named.
So are you saying that Twiggs?
Would you like me to
fingerprints-
finish my statement?
I just want to make sure I'm clarifying.
I'm trying to finish the answer, but it can't be clarified until the answer comes out of my mouth.
Okay,
So
go ahead.
this was a portion of her testimony where she was explaining how they got elimination samples from the home. And she named Matt Robinson, Amber Robinson, and Lance Twiggs as the elimination samples that she was using. And so she explicitly said, some of them, so we can assume 2 out of the 3, were their prints were found on the gun. She explicitly named Matt Robinson as someone who had prints on the gun, and then said there were 5 people that they had taken that sample from. And again, what's also relevant here is the earlier testimony, which came from the FBI forensics analyst, I believe it was on day 2, where she said that when you're using those mixtures and those samples and you get up to 5+, it's really hard to make any sort of a determination. So both of those things are relevant. If you can't explain why his prints are the most degraded and you're saying he is the shooter, it's not really a so what. It's an open-ended question that people have a right to pursue. It's not a conspiracy. It's actually proof of my claim that there is evidence that he was set up as a patsy.
That wouldn't prove anything about him being a patsy.
It said it's evidence to support the claim that he could have been set up as a patsy.
So this is why I said earlier, so what? Because even if it's the case, this doesn't have an explanation for it yet. That doesn't actually give you any evidence in your corner for Tyler Robinson being a patsy.
Okay,
hang on. I didn't cut you off. Right? you would need to actually explain how this would demonstrate Tyler Robinson. This is tied into Robinson being a patsy. Are you claiming that these fingerprints were Lance Twiggs or that he had any DNA there?
I'm saying that it could be Matt Robinson, it could be Amber Robinson. That sort of information is going to come out during the trial.
How would that tie into the idea that he's a patsy?
Yes,
though?
because if his is the most degraded prints and the information that I shared on my platform is true, that this gun was given to Tyler Robinson as an heirloom. I had conversation with members of the Robinson family, Twiggs family, both of them. You know, like I said, we're not just dreaming. And if we're having those conversations and they told me that that gun was only given to Tyler Robinson because it was a family heirloom. Okay, so it was his grandfather's gun or great grandfather's gun. I don't remember the difference. I don't remember which one it was. And so he got it because he's the firstborn. So, but he's not much of a shooter, is what I was told. And so he has this because he inherited it, essentially. So if I get something from my grandpa and I put it up on the shelf and I own this, you could see that could be.
How do we get to the patsy part?
You don't let me ever get to the end of the sentence. So how could we get to the patsy part
Okay,
if I can't get to the end of the sentence?
Patiently till we get to
so that could be a reasonable explanation as to why there was dust in the barrel, because he doesn't often shoot this weapon and he is indeed a fisher. And it could also be a reasonable explanation for why we have Matt Robinson's prints on this. Obviously, Lance Twiggs, even if he has prints on things, they live together, it doesn't really mean anything. But that could demonstrate that somebody took his weapon and put it somewhere. His prints are the most degraded. Somebody else's prints, there's more presence of somebody else's prints, and that could demonstrate that somebody is taking items from his house and putting it into various
But it also
places.
could demonstrate nothing. So the problem that you have here is that this is pure conjecture.
No,
this is this is not evidence that Tyler Robinson is a patsy. It's only evidence that you have conjectured up that, well, if it's the case that these are the more degraded prints, then therefore that means must be patsy because dad's fingerprints on gun.
I didn't say must be
describe
patsy.
how this actually links in to Robinson being a patsy.
Okay, I just described that for you, so I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you, so I'm going to move on from that. But to just go back to your point about this is not evidence, you can't make that claim because the entire basis for why you think that there's evidence for Tyler Robinson being the person that took the shot is based off of a hearing under Utah 1102 rules, meaning that they are doing the exact same thing that I am doing. This is the state. You said you're here to represent the state. Well, did you watch the preliminary hearing?
I didn't say I was here to represent the state.
The state's position you think is strong and convincing.
What I'm here to do is represent my own opinion.
You
which
said
is
in
that
your opening statement,
based on the evidence presented so far by the state.
The state has
I find it
presented
convincing.
evidence under Utah's 1102 rule.
But this doesn't demonstrate any patsy
No, that's very
behavior.
important because that rule is hearsay. So you can't say at the same time,
Great.
Candace, you're not allowed to. And what that means under the Utah rule, which I'm sure you know, because I'm sure you watched the preliminary hearing and yourself understand what that means, is that the entire hearing was hearsay. It means none of that information that was presented is going to be allowed. The majority of it, the overwhelming majority of it is not going to be allowed at the trial. They're allowed to present when it's just a probative hearing.
I don't think all the evidence that was put in was hearsay.
Okay, you didn't watch this case.
But not only that, no.
This is a huge point. This is
Hey,
crazy
we
that you
can
don't
call
know
for
this.
a fact check if
Yes,
all the evidence
we need
was
more than a
put
fact
in.
check. This was every single
The
day.
team in the back is
Utah
actually
rule
saying
1102.
They want to go there. So they said there's a medical examiner's explanation of the shooting that's in the back. Rob, if you want to pull it up, and then Candace, if anybody from your team wants to pull something up, no problem as well. But they're requesting it. If you guys got it, pull it up. So we can show it. And in the interim, is that it?
Yeah. So I'll read this.
Just what are we looking at, just so we know?
Yeah. So this says the bullet, or at least part of it, sequentially perforated the interior left of Mr. Kirk's neck, strap muscles of the left side of the neck. This is a summary, by the way. Left common cartoid on the left internal external jugular veins. The bullet also obliterated the left side C27 vertebrae, transacted the cervical spinal cord. Medical examiner observed a significant portion of Kirk's cervical spinal cord was traumatically absent. Mr. Kirk suffered from other severe injuries, including bilateral, apical, and posterior intercostal hemorrhages, pulmonary, apical hemorrhages, multiple disruptions to the thyroid, et cetera, et cetera. So the summary of the examination is that he was shot.
Okay.
That was what they were pulling that up for.
Okay. And I'm not disputing that he could have been hit with a projectile.
Hi. Now we're comfortable, let's talk urine leakage. Tenna Men Maximum Guards are designed for men. Slips discreetly into my underwear. You'd never know. And they protect like Tenna, so no more dribble dramas.
that you believe there's overwhelming evidence on the basis of what we saw in the preliminary hearing. The entire preliminary hearing was hearsay.
Yeah, I'm fine with your inferences.
But no, you just literally said I couldn't do that. Yes, I can.
No, I didn't. I'm just saying from your inference, how do we get to Patsy?
This is how you got to Shooter. The Tyler Robinson did it
No,
the same
no,
way
no,
that
I
you
didn't
got to
get to
Tyler
just
Robinson.
Shooter from that.
Yes, you did. You again, this is something important. So we should pull up a fact check about what the 1102 Utah and under their constitution, for the sake of a preliminary hearing, they do not have to have hard evidence. They don't have to put people on the trial.
They don't have to.
But no, that's why the entire hearing was basically hearsay. Officer Bagley
But
was
not
saying,
all of it, like I said.
the overwhelming majority.
Again, no
I mean,
dispute.
outside of the one
But
that you don't. That you don't want to give. Please don't cut me off.
Though.
Outside of, no, that is what's in dispute. It
It's
means
not.
that your entire brand of saying you don't have evidence, falls apart when the entire preliminary hearing is based off of hearsay. In fact, Lance's testimony before they had about an hour debate, actually, maybe it was more than an hour debate before he sat, and they said, this is not going to be allowed. You wouldn't even be allowed to do this. We'd be able to cross-examine him. The questions that they're asking Lance are all leading. And what did he say? Well, I'm the magistrate under Utah Constitution, 1102. It is my job to allow all of this so we can see if the state has enough here that we can then move to a trial, which will then, they would not allow this stuff. They would say we get to cross-examine Lance. Lance
But
just
you're
can't
arguing
willy-nilly
things I'm not
say,
disputing.
but the entire substance of your argument is that people can't infer off of evidence. That's
No,
what you're saying
it's
to
not.
me. When you say Candace,
Here,
you
I'll
can't
give
talk
you the
about the degraded
argument
prints, which is a
now.
fact.
Yeah, I'm not
and then
saying
infer
that.
off of that
Didn't say that.
Tyler could have been a patsy.
You're just
literally
making stuff up. So here's
I'm not
what the
making stuff
position
up.
is.
I'm
I'm
not making
asking
stuff
this.
up. I'm saying that I think you. Let's pull that up. Let's pull that up. I am doing exactly what the state did. I'm looking at a piece of evidence, and I am saying.
But you're not showing me how you get there.
Can you describe to the audience what
Yes.
1102
So
means?
just so everybody who's watching this at home understands what I'm saying, even if he doesn't. What Andrew is arguing is that I don't have the right to extrapolate from
Never
a
made that
fact
argument.
like
Just making it up. Just purely making it up. I'm asking based on
Andrew.
based on
can I
your
show my evidence? You just showed yours. Reliable hearsay.
You'll get a chance.
Reliable hearsay in criminal preliminary examinations. The entire preliminary hearing that you just saw was on the basis of reliable hearsay. And what that means essentially is the people who are making the statements can just say, Patrick told me that he did this on Monday. Patrick's not here. And that is, they can allow that into the hearing. That's just because it's just meant to be probative. And so it's the state saying, here's what we have inferred. So you are allowed to take a piece of evidence, and then you are allowed to infer off of that evidence. Okay. Case in point, that's a demonstration that's a demonstration of what I just did. I said the prints were the most degraded off of Tyler Robinson. And from that, what I am inferring is that it's plausible that Tyler Robinson was set up.
That doesn't, that's the point in contention.
That's not a point in contention. That's
the point in contention.
It's not a point in contention. If you're saying it's a
it
point,
is the point in contention.
It's not the point in contention. I'm telling you that was what the entire hearing allowed for. So the evidence that he is describing,
we're asking you
that
now.
he is using to argue his case is all based on inference, not fact.
Great.
Inference, not fact.
We're
So what they
just-
are inferring off of the facts.
So again, we're going to take this, and I'm just going to even grant it because it's irrelevant. I'm asking how you get to the inference that even if you dispute that piece of evidence, that means Patsy. I'm looking for the logical chain for how you get to that inference.
What I am telling you is it's the exact same way that when you tweeted, I think that this evidence is overwhelming. When they say that looks like Tyler Robinson's car, he drives a similar car. Okay. They are inferring that that's Tyler Robinson.
Can you walk me through the inference? So that I understand.
It's not a fact. It's not a fact. When you show a blurry image, which you kept citing that we have
I'm
images.
talking about your inference that the fingerprints, even if they're degraded, equals Patsy. How do you get that inference?
I didn't say it equals Patsy. I think it is enough evidence that it should be explored, which is exactly what this preliminary was in the inverse.
That's not what in dispute. What's in dispute is when you said, I'm using this as evidence that he could. Been a Patsy. I'm asking
that somebody just took his gun and put it there. That's it.
Is there equally
that's how it works.
And is there equally 100 other plausible explanations?
I think that's the reason why most people are exploring when things don't make sense.
Got it.
So yes, at the beginning of that, this is how the court process works.
So
Just so we're clear,
if
this
there's
is the
100 other
state's evidence,
plausible
and they're inferring.
explanations, then Candace, why is it that we should go with this idea that it was a patsy?
I'm not saying that we should go with the idea that it was a patsy. I am saying that there is.
I thought that was the whole defense. Your whole claim.
No,
today.
my whole claim was that there is more evidence that he is set up as a patsy.
How does that equal evidence of patsy?
I don't know how many times I can say this. Like I'm saying that I am using the exact same mechanism that you are accepting for some reason in the Utah courtroom.
Yeah.
Right. To say, I'm going to look at the evidence and I'm going to infer an alternative theory. So you just saw the states and you're accepting it. And they've not presented any concrete facts. You listed on your own Twitter that what you found to be convincing was something that looked like his car pulled into the driveway, a blurry image.
No, I didn't.
A standard white guy coming up the steps that could literally be anyone.
This never happened.
Can we get a fact check on that? Can we pull up his tweet where he goes over
I didn't
the
say
floor?
that's what convinced me.
When you actually didn't say it's what convinced me, but you said this is the evidence that you found to be overwhelming, and you named, I believe, actually 5 things. I think you said it was his car. You said it was.
Well, there's multitudes of things that I find.
You
to
just
be
said you didn't say
compelling
it, so we're going to
evidence.
get a fact check on that. You
Sure.
did.
Go ahead.
You said the blurry images coming up the steps. Quite literally, when Officer Bagley testified, they talk about when I'm talking about making inference. This is the most I thought was the most absurd testimony I've ever heard. And pardon me, it was actually David Hull. They asked him a question. How did you know the guy in the maroon shirt was the same as the guy that came up the stairs later that was wearing the American flag black shirt? And he said, they're wearing the same shoes.
Why is that absurd?
That's how you decided these two are the same people. Oh, wow. What a scientific. They're both wearing Converses. Okay. That's an absurd thing to say. That is not evidence that these are the same people if we're both wearing Converses. That was what he said. That's what flew on the stand.
But I still don't understand how that would be absurd. If somebody,
it's an absurd thing.
For instance, if somebody were to change their clothes but keep the same shoes on, wouldn't you utilize the shoes to try to track that person? If
The
they were changing
idea
their
that on a
clothes?
college campus, 2 people wearing this totally different outfits, but both wearing Converses can't happen is such an absurdity that I don't even need to argue that. I'm just going to let people deal. Why is it absurd? Just concede that point. Obviously, it's an absurd thing to say.
I'm not
I know
sure,
these are the same people because they're both wearing Converse.
Yeah, I'm not sure if in context that's what happened, but
It
even
is.
if it
You
is,
can get a fact check on
but
it.
even if it is, again,
And it was
if
Hull.
we're utilizing inferences, whenever we're dealing with logic and we're dealing with making a logical inference, we're going to take the entire collaboration of evidence and then we're going to make inferences from that. You would do that with any type of logical proposition. Otherwise, you could never have a true or false claim.
You just told me I couldn't.
So
do
when
that.
that never happened. You're just making stuff up. So anyway, when we're talking about logical inferences, what I'm looking for is the logical inferences that you have that Tyler Robinson's a patsy based on a totality of evidence that you have.
We can keep going through your other evidence. We should find his
Yes.
tweet where he lists the reasons that he was convinced.
So let's start with the 30-06. I think that's fine.
Your team's looking for. Do you remember how long ago that was?
The tweets of the 5. Did you delete it or no?
No,
Did
I
you
don't
delete
delete
tweets?
tweets.
Okay, cool. I just look for. He said
Unless
it
I
was his
misspell.
car. It was his. It was the car, and it was definitely the staircase photos, and it was when the trial was going on.
She has it. Perfect.
She has it.
If you got Skylar has it. If you want to pull it up so we can see it.
Somebody said, so give me the clear evidence right here. I want you to provide it right here. All I heard from the investigator was, we believe this to be Tyler Robinson. Is belief something you go as a fact? You wrote the car pulling in. That's a totally blurry image. Robinson getting out of it. You have no idea if that's Tyler Robinson. The fact that he is seen 4 other times on camera, the fact being just a standard white boy with brown hair was seen walking up staircase. The DNA on the roof, we should discuss that. And on the screwdriver that he left behind, it's overwhelming, man.
Yeah, but that's not an exhaustive list.
Well, just so we're clear, you did tweet it.
But it's not an exhaustive.
Yeah,
well,
but just
you
5
said
seconds ago, you should concede.
You said I only said this one thing and said that was overwhelming, actually.
That's not what I said.
It is. You could even pull
Patrick,
your
did
own
I say
clip.
that?
Can you fact check if that was said or not? I did not hear her say
So the
this.
thing that's funny here is we still aren't getting to any of these inferences. So
Why are you pivoting? But just say you were wrong. It's cool to just say I was wrong. I can say it.
I'm not wrong. So back to the tweet aspect here. It was really funny. That's not an exhaustive list of why I find it.
I didn't say it was exhaustive. I just said you said it.
And on top of no, you didn't. You said that I only said this one thing and then said based on that it's over. Well, I didn't. You didn't mention that I mentioned the screwdriver, DNA, all these other things. You never mentioned any of that. So no, you're actually incorrect there. But on top of that, moving over to the actual evidence itself.
Are you
Yes, I'm okay. Anyway, back to the evidence
if you're
itself.
okay.
Yes,
Actually,
I'm
I'm
fine.
glad you're asserting that you're
But
okay.
back-
I wasn't worried about your health. I'm
but
just saying
back to
that I just said
this.
you tweeted this. You said no, I didn't. We got a fact check, and now you're like just gonna gaslight me and pretend that I
There's
said
no gaslighting.
it wasn't exhaustive. I never said that. I just said you did say
There's
this.
Zero gaslighting.
I didn't say you couldn't have said more,
Yeah.
but I would like to address what
I mean,
you
this
said
is
in
your
that tweet.
time. If this is how you want to spend it interrogating my position, you can do it that way.
I'm just addressing what you asserted on your Twitter was like the hard evidence that convinced you was overwhelming. That's literally
That's
your debate
not what
claim.
you said. That's not actually, in fact, what happened in that exchange. I was here for it.
So what's your position here?
Yeah, so my position is that based on all of the evidence, which has
Mhm.
been demonstrated, at least all the evidence to my knowledge, that I am actually not seeing anything that's compelling as an alternative theory. I'm not seeing anything which is convincing me of something otherwise than what the state is presenting as evidence. That's my position. If
Okay.
that's what you're asking me.
So just going back to what you did actually tweet, is it fair for me to ask questions about that?
Is that the only tweet you're going to ask me about?
Well, we're addressing your claim that the evidence is overwhelming, and this is a tweet where you listed what you felt was overwhelming. I think that's fair,
but not
right? I feel like that's fair,
but not exhaustive. Just so you know.
And I never said it was
Okay.
exhaustive.
Go
Even though
ahead.
you said I did.
Sure, whatever you want.
But yeah, so going back to that, all of that, as you say to me, well, Candace, why are you addressing and making inferences off of the testimony?
No, I never asked you why you're making inferences. I asked you how, with the inference you made, you got to the conclusion.
Okay, so I would like to know how you got to the conclusion. And I'm just going to throw it right back at you because
Yeah,
for some
that's
reason
fair.
you permit yourself to do it. And that's what I'm demonstrating is that you permit yourself to do it.
Mhm.
And then you say, when I do it, it's a conspiracy, right?
No.
How are you able to infer off of blurry staircase images that is Tyler Robinson?
Yeah. So in that particular case, what you do is you take that evidence, you combine it with other evidence. So it's not just that Tyler Robinson is seen in the staircase.
Why are you calling him Tyler Robinson in the staircase? That's what I want to get to.
Yeah, because I mean, we'll just use this. If you don't agree that that's Tyler Robinson, then you would just have to humor me. I think it is, so I'm using the name.
But why do you think it is? Because you make everybody, you
That's
call them
literally what I'm
conspiracy
trying
theorists.
to explain to you.
Okay.
So if you're asking for my inference, why I think it's Tyler Robinson is because Tyler Robinson said in his text messages, you'll be able to see me on security footage at the campus. Said it in his own messages. On top of that, Twigs, yes, you can pull them up if you want to fact check that. He did say. On
Yeah,
top
I would.
of
I'm sorry. I
that,
actually think I really did miss that. I'm not saying you're wrong. I just
Yeah.
I don't remember him saying you're going to see me in.
I'm
in
paraphrasing,
Can
but
we
it was
pull that
close
up?
to
Yeah,
it.
If
I
you
don't-
may
I feel-
have
I
it, if
think
you
And
that's
by the
don't,
not
way,
pull it up.
Twigs himself said that he
You're
had
going to see me
some
in the staircase.
that he had some maybe a tiny bit of doubt, but it's
So-
Tyler Robinson,
Mhm.
not just because of blurry footage.
Did you have a dream? Just kidding.
No, it's because I combined multitudes of
sorry.
evidences.
Okay, so let's address those multitude of evidences. The first one we're working on a fact check on because I do not ever remember him tweeting. That's me in the stair. I mean, or
Well, he didn't tweet
texting.
it.
Texting
Yeah.
that's me in the staircase. I think that I you
I
could,
didn't say that. I said I literally didn't. What I said is that he texted over, you'll be able to see me in footage at UVU. And I'm paraphrasing, but that's what he said.
Yeah, could we get a fact check on that?
You
The
can find
second
it.
thing you said was Lance's testimony, and actually what Lance says is, I'm not 100%.
I agree.
But in terms of what he wears, again, pointing out the absurdity,
Mhm.
he wears Converses. He wears sneakers. If
Mhm.
his boyfriend is not 100%, I'd like to understand why Andrew Wilson is overwhelmed by it. That's what I'm trying to get to. And lastly, I would like to remind you that Lance's statement would not be permitted. This was a huge part of the preliminary hearing, that they were leading. All of the questions that were asked of him were leading, so they would be struck down at the actual trial. And also, I would like to remind you that he got use immunity for that. Use immunity,
I understand.
which means like
That happens, by the way, all the time in these
and
cases.
I'm wondering why it particularly happened for Lance in this testimony. And I would also like to point out that something that's remarkable about this, again, leaning to my perspective, that Lance has a lot more, which I have said many times, Lance has a lot more involvement than the feds are letting us know. I think more
Nobody
is going to come
disputes
out
that either.
because they interviewed him
Yeah.
on September 11th. And then for whatever reason, just ahead of what was supposed to be slated as the preliminary hearing, which was initially supposed to be in May, they bring him back to do this interview, which in my opinion should have never been allowed. And I actually agree with the defense that it's a violation of his constitutional rights not to allow them to have cross-examined him. But I understand Utah 1102 do what you do. It's all hearsay. But to allow it in that way for him to just be able to also have use immunity, knowing that he's not going to get in trouble. He could literally get up there and lie about anything, and he's not going to get in trouble because the use immunity was given to him in April, I believe. April 28th is when they gave that testimony to the defense. I think they shot it in like April 20th of 2026. That is not compelling to me for somebody who has use immunity to give a testimony and to say, I'm not really sure, but definitely like he wears jeans and stuff.
That's not what he said.
He did. Actually, you can get a fact check on that.
Yeah, that's
Scott, I think
he
you
said
pull
much
it up
more
if you
than
want to rule 801 title. But first, go to what Candace is asking about Skylar. I think you have it. You just text him if you want to pull it up. You said you have the text. If we can put that up on the screen. Thank you.
It was me. Look at the pictures from the surveillance footage. It was me. Okay. I literally said to you, it's not an oof. I said I didn't remember this, and I'm happy to have a fact check on that. Okay. I didn't call for the fact check saying you're wrong. I literally said I don't remember that. From
Well,
the
I'm
time
just saying to you, like,
Okay.
I'm trying to be concise for you.
And then also bring the 801 that you just said. What was the other one?
Yep. The 801. Tyler messages saying it's not hearsay. If you have that as well. There you go.
Wait, what are we saying is not hearsay? I thought
Statements
you said
that
the
are not
messages.
hearsay. A statement that meets the following conditions is not hearsay.
It was hearsay. They said it in the trial.
Hang on.
Okay.
Okay. Is consistent with the declarant's testimony, and the declarant denies having made the statement or has forgotten, or is consistent with the declarant's testimony and is offered to rebut the express implied charge that the declarant recently fabricated or acted in recent improper influence or motive in testifying. So then wouldn't that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
So the issue with his
I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
Would that mean that a bunch of this wasn't hearsay?
So the opposing party, which down the line, like I said, they talked about this for about an hour and a half, and they discussed how if Lance was in court and he was giving his first party, giving his testimony as the opposing party, whatever, all of this would be fine. They had an issue with how the questions were being asked and that they were not allowed to cross-examine him.
Mhm.
So that is why his video testimony would not be accepted in the main trial. And what I said to you is this entire preliminary hearing is under Utah's 1102. So they are allowed to just use hearsay. And
No,
so the
you didn't
judge,
say
when
that.
he
You said most of it was hearsay, actually.
Yeah,
The
it was.
overwhelming majority.
Well, I mean, I'm leaning now into my opinion that some scientific aspects, which they kept asserting, like the federal rule 403 or 402, some of those parts were quite
Sounds
scientific.
like you're backtracking quite a bit.
No, I'm not backtracking at all. What do you feel like? Let me help you. Where do you feel like I'm backtracking? It literally was done under Utah's 1102.
Yeah, nobody disputed that.
Okay.
What the dispute was is whether or not most of it was overwhelmingly hearsay. Is that
Yes,
the case?
it was. Yes,
Okay.
that's a fact. I'm not back.
Going on a date looking like that?
Dad, I don't have time to color my hair.
Yes, you do. I use this big and easy color. Just squeeze, comb, wait 10 minutes, and rinse. You look great. Now keep going.
Going to be, where is your hard evidence? This is what I heard, and I agree with what I'm watching. You are watching the state put on a hearsay preliminary hearing, and all of those things are not going to be allowed, right? Even when they got into witness statements and things of that nature. There's a reason why they swear you in, and they say, you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth. Did you, write this statement? So it's the overwhelming majority of what you saw was hearsay because other people were representing other people's statements. They were saying they had conversations. We don't know where it came from. All allowed at this stage. Okay. But it's hearsay. So
but even a lot of that stuff may not fall under hearsay under what we just read, right?
But the evidence that you're speaking about, like when you say that we're going off vibes, you don't know Tyler Robinson. Okay. His boyfriend is not 100% it was him. So I'm going back to your points that you made that this was overwhelming evidence for you. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, overwhelming just means
you can't
convincing.
consider another option that there could have been
hang
another
on. Do you
white
agree
guy
with me
wearing
that
Converses on campus.
Do you agree with me that I said that what overwhelming means to me is that it's just very convincing to me?
Yeah, and I find it to be completely unconvincing.
And that's fair. I understand that
I
you
looked
can
at those
find-
blurry photos
Yeah.
that they presented and said, your statement on right now is that he's wearing Converses and he also that's just
But
crazy.
these
to
aren't
me.
the evidences that I find the most convincing.
Well, you said that in your Twitter.
That's not the only thing I've ever said on my Twitter about this case.
Right, but the question that was asked of you was pretty direct.
Yeah.
Right. What did you find
this
to
is
be?
not an exhaustive list of all the things
Well, that's
that I
not
find
what you said in the
convincing.
tweet. You can tweet longer too. It's not like we're limited now to 240 characters anymore.
So anything that I tweet and all other tweets that I've ever made are now excluded because I used the word overwhelming in this one.
Well,
even though all of this information I've said so publicly over and over and over again is what informs my position for why I'm convinced on the case. That's bizarre to me.
I feel like this is Andrew versus Andrew. Somebody asked you a question. What are the points that you find to be the most overwhelming? And you answered.
You mean from that day, from that particular day of the hearing that I was responding to?
Okay, this is something you find to be more overwhelming? Let me ask you that question.
Yes,
okay.
that's what I was saying.
Okay, go ahead. Go on. What do you find to be more overwhelming?
Yeah. Can we do this? Do we want to get into it, or do we want to do a quick ad break? Are you guys good to keep going, or
I'm fine to keep going, but we can also.
Would you like to take a quick break?
Doesn't matter to me either
if
way.
we're going into a different topic, that may be another 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I don't want to stop you guys in the middle of it.
So what you find to be more overwhelming?
Yeah. So if we're for me, it's the confessions, the text messages, all of that is what I consider to be, from my opinion, that's the most convincing for me.
Okay, we should discuss the text message confessions when we get back, if you'd like to.
Okay.
That's a good idea. Folks, we're going to take a quick ad break. We will be back in 3.5 minutes. Thank you.
All right, you guys, for nearly 2,000 years, Christians have lived continuously in a small village just outside of Jerusalem called Tibet. They remained through the Roman Empire, the Crusades, the Ottoman Empire, and countless changes of power. Today, that Christian presence is in serious danger. One father in the West Bank put it simply. He said, quote, "I don't want to leave. My family is buried here. My church is here." In Tibet, the church is more than a place of worship. It's a school, a medical clinic, a food distribution center, and a safe gathering place for families. When the church can no longer serve the community, families begin to leave, and a living Christian presence in the Holy Land begins to disappear. But you can help. Just $35 provides a full day of protection and support for vulnerable Christian families, and $83 a month can help sustain that protection throughout the month. I support the Vulnerable People Project because 93% of every donated dollar goes directly toward protecting vulnerable families and communities on the ground. If preserving a living Christian presence in the Holy Land matters to you, visit vulnerablepeopleproject.com. Again, that's vulnerablepeopleproject.com. All right, you guys, do you feel like you're working harder than ever, but still falling behind every month? Between grocery prices, bills, and credit card debt growing, it can feel impossible to get ahead. Minimum payments aren't designed to get you out of debt. They're designed to actually keep you stuck, but PDS Debt can help. They can reduce up to half of what you owe on credit cards, personal loans, and medical bills, and it starts with a free 30-second assessment at pdsdebt.com/Candace. Stop juggling multiple payments and get one lower monthly payment. The savings begin the day that you complete the quick assessment. If you're carrying any balance on your credit cards, it's costing you money every single day. There's no minimum credit score that's required. PDS Debt is the top-rated company in the industry with thousands of 5-star reviews and an A+ rating on the BBB. So get your free 30-second personalized assessment today at pdsdebt.com/Candace. Again, that's pdsdebt.com/Candace. I also want to tell you guys about the Wellness Company because by now you've probably heard that there is an explosive outbreak in the U.S. this summer. More than 18,000 confirmed and suspected cases of cyclosporiasis have now been nationwide, and Michigan health officials.
Cash in on big savings with hundreds of digital coupons, like this one in the Market Street For You app.
Yesterday was amazing. Rachel was determined to live her life on her terms.
That foot's out of town.
Yeah, he looked like a trolling motor, bro. I feel like I want to hang him off the back of a boat, and we're going to get somewhere in a second.
She is. Say whatever you want about Candace Owens. I don't think anybody can say she's dumb. She is sharp.
She is definitely straight up off the dome trouncing him, in my opinion.
Yes.
Because reading from a script right out the gate, while it is the safest bet, right? It's a good, solid, safe start. Candace ate that alive, bro.
I mean, but with situations like this, where really what people are there's no way to measure who won this, right? It's just opinion. You're trying to present yourself in a better way than your opponent. And I think that when you read from a script, what you do is immediately forfeit the potential for charisma, right? She's smoking him on likability, which in my opinion, she's just a more likable person. But really, when you factor in the scripted opening versus off the cuff opening,
I loved how she fielded the dream question, right? I didn't like the fact that she tried to validate it through, coincidence happens, man. If you don't believe in coincidence, I think you're nuts, right? So I didn't see a real good way out of it, but I think she took the least damaging path, which was, I had a dream. It turned out to be similar to what seems to have happened. I believed the dream such and such, right? She could have just been like, yeah, I had a dream, and dreams are dreams, and moved on with her life. And that would have been the path I chose.
How's the debate going? Let me guess. Andrew said blah, 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 and Candace responded with blah, blah, blah. That's basically right.
Not wrong.
Yeah, that's actually exactly right. That was an excellent prediction. And we also are blah, blah, blahing.
I mean, it's kind of the purpose, though, isn't it?
Right. Also, guys, don't forget, we're trying to reach the $300,000 dono goal for this stream. We're at $49 currently, so help. Me and Sasquatch are just up here trying to do the right thing and support, people who are victims of tragedies and shit.
All of those tragedies.
For the right reasons. So.
For all the right reasons, yes.
Right. So anyway, it's just $299,951 to go, and we'll have hit the goal. And then Sasquatch gets
a start.
Right at that point, Sasquatch. I've agreed that probably Sasquatch can start getting at least get a cut of this stream's revenue if we hit the goal. So if we don't reach the goal, that means you support slavery.
Yep, unpaid labor. That's right.
Yep.
You bad people. Don't be a bad people. Give money. Give money.
Man, he's totally outside smoking cigarettes. What the fuck are they doing these long?
Yeah.
You're probably smoking two at once.
I smoke my stogie anywhere I want. I don't have to find a hideout place like you.
I would never let a woman tell me what the fuck I could do, Andrew. The patriarchy is
she's hot.
He took a step back today. Can we call it what it is? That is a step back for the patriarchy. That was at least
step down for Andrew. It appears to be a chastisement. You remember what I said about the humiliation ritual? I wonder who set this up backstage, right? Somebody paid somebody to do something here. This didn't just accidentally, organically happen. I don't buy it.
I mean, not organically. He and Rachel have been barking up this tree noisily on Twitter for a few months now, I think.
Okay. So somebody fed him to her?
I don't know, but say what you want about Andrew and Rachel. They are good at just kind of antagonizing people into giving them their way on. Of course, they had to pay $300,000 to get their way, but they eventually did get the thing they were asking for.
Are you buying the cigars, Mike? I don't generally smoke cigars, but
hell yeah, we do. Some Macanudo white labels. I'm sorry, I do like Macanudos, but
I got nothing.
Monte Cristo white labels are probably my go-to.
That cigar I had in this house was the one from the Christmas pictures.
After these messages,
we'll be right back.
That little jingle is burned into our souls. The souls of generations.
Autistically desiring to do it correctly, may I?
Okay. Yeah.
After these messages, we'll be right back.
Nicely done.
Let the autism flow through you folks.
Yeah. And I want to point out how considerate it was of me to not intentionally fuck you up right at the end again and again and again.
Yeah, but you're going to clip that shit later and use it for a transition.
I'm not even awake yet still, so I probably forget about it, honestly. Actually, now I won't.
And that was your plan, right?
In the meantime, how are y'all doing down there in chat? It's good to see some familiar faces. Faces. Gary Baxter's back around. Good to see you, sir. Hope all's well in your life. You tell me. Good to see you. Hope all's going well out there. It seems like it's a little cooler outside than it has been. Hopefully you're not dying of a heat stroke. Let's see who else we got. Lou. Would say Lou. I don't. I saw somebody say 5. There's quite a. Yeah. I don't know how they're going to stretch this out.
No, I would like to go back and look at the last, I don't know, 3 minutes of that and see what it was that triggered the break. Was it just the time? Was it just the 12:20 or whatever?
Let's see. I've been live so it's been about an hour. They've been going probably.
Well, if it was just the time, that's fine. I didn't happen to notice at the time, which it's kind of funny because I was
probably Rachel was sending furious, outraged text message.
To control it. This is free for all. This is what's best for the audience. That's why we like freedom of speech. Having said that, let's go back into the text conversation you were having, right?
Okay.
Let's stay there, and then we'll go into the cross-examination stuff in about 30 minutes.
Okay. That sounds fair. Okay. So yeah, I used basically 3 pillars for the totality of the evidence. Okay. So if you want to know exactly what those 3 pillars are, this is going to be the testimony with the text messages and the confessions. This is going to be the physical evidence, and this is going to be the totality of the summary of the case. Okay. So right now we're focusing on one of these pillars in my defense, which is fine. I understand that I have to defend my claims as well. So when we're talking about the messages themselves, they seem totally valid. I have no idea why they wouldn't be valid. And I have not heard any good explanation for why it is that these messages should even be questioned. The defense hasn't questioned them as far as I'm aware. Nobody has actually questioned that these messages came from Robinson to date, except perhaps you and other people who are kind of in that camp. But why should I question these exactly? I'm not sure.
Okay, so first let's just go over legally what the point is of a probative hearing. The defense is not they're not there to say or to argue or to defend themselves at all. They have to address what is being presented by the state. Okay. So they're not here to then say, let me give you an explanation for these text messages.
Agreed.
The relevant portion of what the defense did do was actually before we got to the preliminary hearing. I had mentioned that it was initially supposed to be scheduled for some time in May. They asked for an extension. That reading through those filings of why they were requesting an extension and why I actually believe their extension should have been granted because they did not receive discovery on their text messages. That was one of the reasons. There were many reasons why they wanted to have an extension, but this was crucial, right? So forget just the general sense that these messages feel off. And yes, you are allowed to have an intuition. You are allowed to have a sense and just go, this is very weird. We're being told this kid had like above a 4.0, Tyler Robinson. He wanted to get away. I mean, the text messages almost run head to head with themselves. Like he wanted to get away with it. So he thought the best thing to do would be to text a full confession of what he did down to what I didn't even remember saying. Yeah. And that's also me in the surveillance footage. It felt a little too on the nose. People have common sense. You just don't text message, but then we're also and burn this and get rid of the evidence, but don't mention that. It felt off. It felt weird off the bat. The manner in which they were texting, we're told he's like a gamer who's using a Dremel to carve expressions, catch fascist, but then suddenly he's writing like a 1700
also, as a Helldivers
novelist
player, he did actually get the 500K code correct.
Yeah, I'm not a gamer, so we'll say that. If we start debating that, you'll be way over my head.
But yes,
but my point being is just that first, it's a general sense of why people had a reaction to these messages that seemed like they were written by Jane Austen rather than like a kid who games and writes catch
but do you see how
fascist.
that's intuition?
That is, I just said that. I said just parking aside the intuition of just something feels wrong here, which you should follow your intuition. You should actually do that. If you say the COVID vaccine is running out, feels like it's coming out too fast and there's too many celebrities telling me to do it, I'd like to take a pause. That's good. That is, you are allowed to do that. I believe in intuition.
But hang on. Let me
aside,
respond a little bit here because you've been going for a minute. Let me at least respond to a little bit of this. So the first thing is like when people bring up the COVID vaccine, not trusting the COVID vaccine en masse was the science. That wasn't just intuition. That was the science. There was tons of competing science. Now they tried to suppress it. That's true. But there was tons of competing science for why you shouldn't take a risky mRNA vaccine
Well, no,
and
the
mass and things
science
like
they
this.
kept telling us was 100%.
Now, when you're talking about
It was-
intuition, though, when you say trust your intuition, I'm actually giving a different message. You actually should be very wary about trusting just your intuition. It is true that intuition can be useful, but it has to be tempered with logic, reason, explanatory power, and evidence, not just intuition.
That's why we're parking it aside. Intuition's the first step. Something feels
Okay.
off, right?
Okay.
That was my first step with COVID. I don't like the way it's being pushed. It shouldn't require a celebrity campaign, by the way. Another element of that is why people don't feel good about the Charlie thing. Why do we have so many influencers saying things? It's over. Why are you guys all using the same adjective? Can you switch it up? I'm overwhelmed. I'm overwhelmed. Like, chill. Like, you could say, I found some
Kinda
parts
like Fed
compelling. I
slop?
think this should go.
Like
I
Fed
found,
slop?
I found some parts compelling. Maybe we should, see at the trial. That would be kind
Don't
of.
you think Fed slop's a buzzword for the counter industry?
But everyone on the same day of watching this trial, which was, I would say, not overwhelming at all. Nobody came in medium, right? No one came in like there were some interesting aspects. This was a little suspect. But I do think it's enough to go to trial. They all came in like they were passing away and we're going to die from being overwhelmed.
Getting tired of the old runaround from the manufacturer? IT Creations is not a manufacturer, but we do have all the top brands. Hardware is expensive, but we can save you some serious cash. These are the parts we carry. We can build a custom configured system for whatever applications you have in mind. IT Creations is an independent IT hardware distributor. We have what you're looking for and at a great price, so you can invest those dollars back into making your business grow. You recertify or used. We have the hardware to fit your budget, and our sales guys know what they're talking about. We have over 7,000.
They know what they're talking about. Look at that. She's just fucking cha-ching, cha-ching. Look at all that.
Tell you as a part of their discovery request is it's not enough to say to me, Candace, I just got a text message from Candace. And I say, I didn't send that text message. Maybe that's what our client's saying. We don't know because we're not at the trial, right? Maybe he didn't send those messages. Could there be someone who logged into his Discord? Could there be someone who logged in to his Apple? George could be sending text messages right now. We are married. He has every login that I have. And remember, he's up for a death sentence. So if I'm able to sow reasonable doubt with common sense, he may come during the trial and when they actually have to address these points, say, I did not write those messages. I was here. Lance, my boyfriend, was logged into my phone, logged into my Apple ID and my iCloud sending messages. I know that we have the capability because my husband does it. He has the capability to send messages from It is not convincing to the public when, for whatever reason, the FBI would not, FBI combined with the SBI, it was not the prosecution's fault. They made that clear during that hearing, would not allow them that discovery request to be able to see where did that message come from? Because you're saying my client was here, right? I want to know if that message actually was generated from his iPhone when he was waiting to retrieve his, rifle, hoping that the pooch doesn't have a bad sniffer, like just weird messages. I want to make sure that, yes, it was actually him. He was holding his phone and his boyfriend didn't just log in to his computer when he was home. Lance was his boyfriend. That is a crucial fact here. That discovery was not met by the time I got to preliminary hearing. So I remain unconvinced by these text messages. You feel convinced by them? I feel unconvinced by them.
Okay. So then the idea here is the reason that you don't think that these are valid text messages, and you don't, right?
It has not been proven that these messages are valid and they don't sound valid to me. I don't think anyone, even if someone was selling like a, I don't know, pot on the corner, would be smarter than to write a full-fledged confession. He even writes, I thought I would get away with it. And I was hoping never to tell you until old age. And then we're being told that he wanted to commit suicide. And okay, but he just said he wanted to get away with it, but he's not smart enough to, I don't know, maybe not text it's such a confession like we've never seen. I think this would be like the first time ever somebody has start to finish written an entire, I'm in this surveillance footage and I'm here and I'm wearing my Converse. I'm being a little facetious here, but it was a little ridiculous. It didn't pass the sniff test.
You have kids and you love them more than anything.
I do.
If it was the case that you thought that your kid was innocent, wouldn't you be out telling everybody and their brother that you thought that they were innocent? And also, wouldn't you maybe recant and say, hey, he didn't actually confess to me. He didn't actually, none of this happened the way that the state is presenting it. What would have prevented the parents from testifying? At
Well,
that
two things
preliminary?
I can answer that. And if you watch my show, I keep telling you it's not vibes. So right after the shooting happened, Lance Twiggs, the FBI put him into a safe house they paid for. They went to the parents as well, to Matt Robinson and Amber, basically said, your life's at risk. There could be somebody who jumps up and wants to avenge Charlie Kirk. And, we're going to watch you. And they went into a federal safe house. What happened next is that they started thinking that the feds were maybe gonna, maybe not as honest as they thought. And
How do you know any of that?
So you gotta watch the show, right?
Yeah, no. How do you know that?
I had a source within the Robinson family.
You have a source, an anonymous source, of course. So there's no way for us to verify that what you're saying right now is actually even true.
Do you find it to be reliable hearsay?
No, I don't find it to be reliable at all. It's just a source.
I'm just doing what the
What you're
prosecution
doing is
did.
a cool story.
It's
you're
not
giving,
cool. Well,
hang on.
You must have hated
Hang
watching
on,
the
you're giving
preliminary
us.
hearing.
You're giving us a cool.
Okay,
cool
but
story.
wait,
You're saying that the reason that the parents haven't recanted any of this.
Recanted what? They have no statement from the parents.
Wait, I just want to make sure that if it was the case, it was being reported in mainstream media that your father came to you and said, "Hey, is this you? What's going on here?" And then he and one of his buddies took you in where you turned yourself in. You wouldn't go out and be like, "No, that's not what happened."
That isn't what happened, though. You're just wrong on this.
Okay, maybe I'm paraphrasing. What am I wrong
So
on?
what is your? Sorry, just so I'm clear. Where is your evidence that the parents turned him in?
Well, no. I didn't say that.
You said
I
it does the mainstream media?
I said with a sheriff friend.
Yes.
But the father did confront him.
The father confronted what?
Tyler Robinson.
And where did you learn this? That the Tyler
Well, I mean,
confronted
that's part
him?
of the official documents. Our fact checkers can pull that up. But yes.
But I'm saying, like, when you say official documents, do you mean you saw this on CNN or you saw this play out in the hearing?
No, this was one of the things that I went through and fact check pre-debate.
Are you talking about like the charging documents?
I think it was it could have been in the charging documents, but we can pull them up.
No.
And yes, are you disputing this?
Do we have that on the back to pull it up?
I can already tell you what you're talking about, the charging documents, because
Okay,
this
go
is
ahead.
where we had to figure out where this story came from, because everyone was operating on the assumption that Matt Robinson turned him in. Until we got to the preliminary hearing and we understood, like I said, even for that, when you are charging someone, you can use hearsay. It's all probative, right?
Sure.
Nothing. So they didn't have statements. It's not like Matt Robinson, even though he was interviewed that night. Amber Robinson was interviewed that night by a Fed, separate rooms. Tyler Robinson was interviewed by a Fed. They did not produce statements saying, my son did this. I believe my son did this. But what happened was they did interviews, but also the crucial person here who you just brought up is Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell is the biggest unknown in this entire case. Everyone keeps saying they heard from Mike Mitchell this, they heard from Mike Mitchell that. So when the person wrote up the report that night, and it was Brian Davis who wrote up what became the charging document, he after they transported Tyler Robinson from the Washington Sheriff's County office up to, I think it's Salt Lake City. I think it was 4 a.m. in the morning that they got up there. He then writes the what becomes a charging document. So he's basically saying, we all spoke to a bunch of people and here's the information that we got, right? We've not seen that. So it could have come from Mike Mitchell. Mike Mitchell could be saying,
I don't know how this negates the point, though. Why
it
wouldn't
truly
the
negates
parents?
the point, because you don't have a statement from the parents.
Yeah,
you are going.
Why wouldn't they just correct the
It's not correcting. That doesn't
misinformation?
negate the point. The point is that we now got the preliminary hearing. Because he said it's been the narrative, everybody's known this. The narrative initially, which I think you agree with, was that, Matt Robinson knew his kid was guilty and turned him into the police station. What actually happened in terms of Sheriff Brooksby, who was present there and gave a press conference, what happened was this Mike Mitchell character essentially peer pressured him, and we can get a fact check on this. We can find Sheriff Brooksby's press conference. And he said, they know it's you and you're going to come in peaceably, or people are going to be banging down your door. He was a undercover cop, which I don't like that. I don't know what he did undercover. It's very hard to find anything about Mike Mitchell, but he worked with them for 20 plus years, the police officers. The reason why Tyler Robinson knew him was because he lived nearby and he was also his Boy Scout
How does
leader.
this negate that the parents could write this second? And by the way, if you had
I'm
the
going to address
evidence,
that point. I'm just saying that your first point, which is that the parents did this.
Yeah.
We don't know that the parents.
I didn't say that they did ever. Never
Well,
happened.
you're quoting the parents as having said, you said that Matt Robinson said that his kid was, you say involved. I don't want to misquote you.
Confronted him about
Confronted him.
Yes.
And I'm telling you that we have not seen any evidence that that is true.
We can fact check that.
Okay.
Because we do have evidence.
And I'm saying it's the charging doc, which could have been derived from a statement Mike Mitchell said.
Two things I have ready in the back. One is the charging doc, and the other
Yes.
one is the video of Kathy Nestor saying she hasn't seen Tyler's phone.
Okay, we can
Okay,
run
which
Kathy to
one
go
would you
back
wanna
and
see
then
first?
just to
You
go
wanna see
backwards
Kathy
to
first?
Kathy first in court saying she didn't get her client's phone. Yeah, and then I think we'll go to the if you're okay with that.
A thing not in dispute. These are all things that I'm not even disputing.
Okay, so we don't
and
have to show it.
We never get to the thing that I am disputing.
Well, I was just providing an answer. We were coming back in from a break because you were talking about the text messages as something that you felt was concrete. So it was just my rebuttal to you that it's not concrete because they haven't had a chance to actually answer that. And she didn't even get to see your client's phone. So that's effectively, again, the state saying these messages are real. You don't get the discovery on these messages just yet. She will during trial. They will actually get the
That would make the case fall apart if it was the case that they weren't able to actually
still
pull the
talk
data
shit
off
about
the
her.
text messages. Do you think the prosecution would go to court with fabricated text messages?
It's called winners and losers. They may not be fabricated, but by the way, as what they are saying, like I said, if there was somebody logged into his phone, they may not be fabricated. That's the point.
So let's get to the
They just could be somebody else.
The parents fact check.
Yeah, so I was saying, I believe what you're talking about was derived from the charging doc, which was signed off by Brian Davis.
Let's pull it up.
Let's see if that's correct. What are we looking at
Robinson's mother explained that over the last year or so, I'm sorry.
Can you zoom in a little bit?
Is this the charging
I
doc?
can't see it. Robinson's
yes.
father reported that when his wife showed him the surveillance image of the suspected shooter in the news, he agreed that it looked like their son. He also believed that the rifle that police suspected the shooter used matched the rifle that was given to his son as a gift. As a result, Robinson's father contacted his son and asked him to send a photo of the rifle, which makes sense with the text messages. Robinson did not respond. However, Robinson's father spoke on the phone with Robinson. Robinson implied he planned to take his own life. Robinson's parents were able to convince him to meet at their home.
Yes. So this is proving my point. This is from the charging document, correct? Yeah. So what I'm saying to you is that 3 people got interviewed on that night. Mike Mitchell got interviewed, Amber Robinson got interviewed, and Matt Robinson got interviewed. Of the 3 of them, only one of them actually wrote a statement, which was referred to in this preliminary trial. He came in, I believe, in March, Mike Mitchell, and he wrote a statement, which I find to be very shady that they decided to bring.
But why aren't the parents disputing that?
No. Well, first off,
that's the question.
First
I've
off,
been
the
asking.
parents are not going to ever play in court, play to the cameras in court when they have a legal team that is going to be advising them not to speak to the court because your son could go to prison
But
forever.
they're playing to somebody else who's your source.
I'm not going to address that.
They're playing to someone else who's your source, but won't go publicly tell the media this is not true.
Well, what I did not say to you that I just said I have a source, so I want to be very clear and take it from somebody who is involved and permanently sued. When I have to take my lawyer's advice, I mean, there's so many things that I want to respond to when people are speaking about.
Yeah, but it's bizarre that they would utilize a source which would get the information to you, but wouldn't just go to the media and be like, actually, that's all wrong.
I am telling you that you would nary find a lawyer who would advise you to go to the media.
This mother,
especially when your son is was up for death.
If I thought that
I'm David. I work for Chevron, and this is my New Mexico. My hope for New Mexico is that we conserve its natural beauty. Working for a company that values that, it's one of the things I love about Chevron.
That's for you and your wife, but when a judge issues a gag order in a case and your son is up for death and your lawyers could be advising you that if you say anything, you could blow the case, you would have a more responsible consideration.
I see.
And we're speaking opinion here. You're like, well, I wouldn't care. I'd violate it and I'd violate the judge's orders and see what would happen.
If you have a source, it seems like they're violating it with them.
I'm not speaking to a source, but what I am saying to you is speaking just relevant to what this is. We have not seen any proof that statement that is included in this charging document. I think it is highly likely on the basis of the preliminary hearing that all came from Mike Mitchell, and Mike Mitchell would be a part. He's
based
saying,
on the statements of
it's him saying the parents told me this. The parents could dispute that. That's going to come down the line, right? They're going to be able to seat the parents. I will say this, putting together context clues. If the state had it on, 100% certainty that Matt Robinson and Amber Robinson said it, a 5-day preliminary hearing would be a good time to say we have enough evidence. And I can tell you why Matt Robinson made this statement, and here is his statement that he signed. That would have been a good time to present that evidence.
That would also be a good time for the defense to say that's just totally fabricated.
No, it's not. It's the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
That is completely the wrong time.
Why couldn't they?
Because what they're doing is they already said they didn't receive discovery. They literally can't. They literally can't because they can't. They did not
You're
receive
saying that
discovery.
they didn't receive that information?
No, they just received the text messages. But in order to...
That's not the text messages.
The probative information.
Yeah, we're talking about the information that we just reviewed. That's not the text messages.
They never presented it. The state never put it on.
Yeah, they didn't. The defense could easily still have presented this. Yeah.
No.
They could have said they're no.
You're
they're not allowed to.
In a preliminary hearing, the defense is engaging with whatever evidence the state decides to put on. They did not put this on as evidence. Brian Davis was up there.
So they're not allowed to present anything?
They're responding to the state's evidence.
I'm asking, are they allowed to present anything?
They are allowed to say...
Like if there was a conspiracy that they could prove right then and there, would they present that in one of these hearings?
No, it wouldn't be the right time for that.
I disagree. I think that they not only could do it, but they would do it. In fact, when I talked in depth with my attorney, they said that's exactly, if you had actual evidence that there was fabrications by the feds, that's exactly when you would introduce that.
So when in the document that they filed yesterday or a couple of days ago, the appropriate, like what you're doing at this stage of the hearing is the state is saying, we have enough evidence that we think this needs to go forth to the trial. Hence the reason that there's this extraordinary, we allow hearsay because it doesn't really need to be perfect. It can be enough that we feel like we can move forward. Right. And okay, I disagree with that in general when somebody's rotting in prison, but whatever. The next phase is for them to meet in court and for the defense to essentially present an argument to the state that says, we find this filing to be defective in and of itself. We don't even have to vote the law effective, and you should get rid of these charges because they don't make sense based on what you can decide based on the law in the books. So that's why they then file the dismissal. Right. So in the dismissal, what they're doing is they are engaging. And this is what was widely misinterpreted.
Well, yeah, they're engaging as though as it's a hypothetical. If this is hypothetically true, then
so they're saying all of these charges.
I'm not disputing any of that.
Why you're saying could they just
what I'm asking specifically is like who could shut parents up who are like, no way, there's no possible. This never happened. This is ridiculous. They would be shouting it on CNN. They would be shouting it from the rooftops. They would be losing their minds. And you're like, nope, the gag order would be enough to keep them quiet. Not enough for them to talk to your source, but enough to keep them quiet. I think that that's quite ridiculous. But I'll even concede this whole point to you. Let's just say maybe this was misconstrued, right? There's a little bit of reason to doubt it because we're still waiting for the evidence for trial. If that's the case, then why not take the same standard for the evidence that you present? You're just waiting for trial.
Well, you didn't do that.
Wait a second.
We're here.
Wait a second. I just want to make sure that I got this right. That's your argument to me, right?
My argument to you is what?
Your argument to me is that, hey, wait a second, Andrew. There's not enough here that convinces me, right?
Well, that's actually my rebuttal to you is that you are saying, why are people engaging in what you term to be conspiracy theories?
No.
I term it to be thinking. They're just thinking because they're recognizing there are a lot of holes in these stories and that this is not strong evidence, right? This is the reason they're doing it. I'm explaining to you, this is the reason that they're doing it. I'm addressing what you view to be overwhelming evidence. And by the way, I want to be clear.
That which convinces me.
But thus far, every point that you've brought up, every point that you've brought up, did you feel like this is beyond a reasonable doubt? I mean, you realize
remember what I said in my opening. It's not beyond a reasonable doubt. It's just what I find convincing is what I find overwhelming.
So why are you so upset when people say they don't find it convincing?
If that was the limitation of the claims that you made, if it was just, wait a second, there's a little bit of problems. There's some problems in this case that I have questions for that I want answers to. Nobody have a problem, actually. At least of all me. I would be the least likely person to have an issue with you, any of your fans, anybody saying. In fact, I've had tons of Discord calls about this. My position's always been clear. Of course, conspiracies exist. Some of them have way better evidence than others, but I've seen them myself. I know conspiracy. In fact, the federal government has hundreds of thousands of laws about conspiracies. They see them.
Your clients dream big. Your agency builds bigger. Base 44. Build it all. Give your clients what others don't.
Damn.
Unlimited buyer title. Your agency can move faster. Go further. Expand. Build tools wired into your stack.
And this is racking them up.
Ban redundancy. Every skill, multiply. Every hour, worth more. You don't need to reinvent yourself. It's already done. Base 44.
I remain unconvinced. I'm sure there's tons of people who remain unconvinced yet until we get to the trial. I think that's fine. I think it's fine. There's people who are convinced too. That's never been my problem. My problem is the claims which are external to that.
Okay. I'm not sure I really care if you have a problem with what I think in my own spare time. I don't understand this like lecture that you just gave. But beyond that, what I'm saying is that if the state is allowed to use, this is what my problem is. You guys are not like, yeah, you guys think while it's still legal, you can, you are allowed to do that. So, but anyway, going back to you saying I wouldn't have a problem. I think I just demonstrated pretty thoroughly that what you claim that you have a problem with is exactly what the state is engaged in at this stage. So it just doesn't make sense.
That's not the case.
And I'm inferring the gun evidence, and I'm inferring that they're both doing the exact same thing.
They're not.
You're just saying, I want to do it for the state.
That's propositionally false.
That is not propositionally
I'll explain
false.
exactly how. It is the case that every proposition is going to have a true or false conclusion, period. That's just logic, right? It's the law of excluded middle. All propositions are going to be true or they're going to be false. When we get into when we're making inferences based on propositions. We can actually come to true conclusions with false premises inside of a proposition. In fact, what we're talking about here is not whether or not you feel that you're convinced by this evidence.
But you felt like you were convinced.
Right? Sure. But here's the thing. True, I'm just not convinced by it. If that was the limitation of your claims, we could move into your actual claims that you've made, which transcend the idea of I'm just asking questions.
Before we get into that, your team has one thing they want to show before you go into that. So if you want to pull that up, this is the prosecution filing showing defense had full discovery by April 1st.
Oof.
They did not. That's not true.
Wait a second.
Yeah.
To date, the state's prosecutors have disclosed all evidence that is presently and reasonably available to them as required under Rule 16, Utah R Criminal, to be more precise.
That's why they're caging that by saying what's reasonable. There was entire, and we can pull this up. Like we should now play the Kathy Nestor clip. That's from there. So, and they were basically saying you don't need it at this stage, meaning it's not reasonable that you're asking for this when we're going into a hearing that's just going to be based on hearsay and stuff, things of that nature. But of course, by the time a trial comes, you're going to get all the discovery documents.
Show cause.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's what they're saying.
Yeah, I understand.
Okay. So that's
I'm even fine with it. I'm just.
Go back to Candace.
So you want to start a podcast, but you're not sure how. Riverside's got you covered. First, go to riverside.com and open an account. And when you're ready to record, just hit the record.
Preliminary hearing dropped like
an
insane amount of the discovery, the exact amount I don't want to say because I don't know my certain amount of stuff that they gave to them right after the preliminary hearing. They had been asked.
Rotating.
For. So they can, it's like, I want to hear what they have to say about the text messages. Why can't you just give them what they're asking for so that they can actually engage you? And it didn't happen. So, but the judge ruled that it wasn't necessary at this stage. And that was the whole point of that.
Because it's
to the preliminary. Yeah.
Would you like
to
know?
I guess the disagreements move into the evidences that you have stated on the record, which transcend elements of reason.
Why are we having a transcendental conversation now? Because I mean,
because
first,
they're all
because
related to this
your
case.
entire thing was about looking at the evidence, which never made sense to me, again, because all of the evidence that you felt to be overwhelming was hearsay. That was bizarre to me.
You told me that I could take as much time as I wanted
No, you
to
can.
question you on
No,
these
but
things.
I'm just asking you just to lay the groundwork of what you're saying is
Because you've
problematic,
made
that
many,
you decide
many
that it trips
claims.
into
I'll
something
explain.
else. And I do still want to hold you for going through, because we've discussed the gun, we've discussed your...
and you can hold me to those things, but I would like to get into the
and
things
we should
that you've
discuss
said.
the screwdriver as
So,
well.
and I'll explain exactly what the groundwork is. When you make claims which pass the idea of I'm just asking questions because the state's evidence is not convincing, I think you have to answer for those claims because they are in regards to this case. You're saying, I have a claim. It is in regards to the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which is what we're talking about, not just the case of Charlie Kirk, his assassination. You should have to answer for the claims that you've made in regards to the assassination itself. You should, yeah, agreed. So if that's the case, then I would like to finally dive into some of that evidence and dive into it.
Well, just to be clear,
Yeah.
and I'm happy to have you talk about, like I said, publicly, you want to engage in some conspiracies, but I said I want to make sure that we get to the substance of our debate. The substance of our
This is
debate
this is the major
is me
substance.
demonstrating that all of the quote unquote evidence that you feel that you have, which demonstrates that Tyler Robinson shot Charlie Kirk.
You don't find convincing. I get it.
It's been invalidated by the testimony that we saw, and in your answer for when I
you haven't
explained to you that he had the most degree, there lies my ability to
fine for you to not be convinced. Nobody's going to dispute that if all your claims ever were just up to now, the evidence that the state's given, I'm just kind of not convinced.
No,
That
it's
is
not
not what's
very
been happening. What's
confused.
actually been happening
They'll
is that
fucking
you've
roll
made
around it.
tons of claims in regards to this case and in regards to the Kirk assassination, which are far above and beyond. I just doubt the state's theory.
Okay, yeah, I mean, sure.
And those are
I
the
do
things
doubt. I
that
do doubt the state's theory. I also am
I get
welcome
it.
to say what I think. If you want to move into opinions,
I
if you want to talk about
totally-
Erica Kirk, if you want to talk about
Yeah.
Turning Point USA,
I'd like to talk about all
and
of
get
it.
He's
into
never
it. I'm
going to
totally happy to
say
do that,
he
but I just
can
want to say
see.
that, like, I do not feel because I've said what's important to our actual debate claims. I do not feel that the evidence is overwhelming.
Sorry.
Question for you.
That
What-
Tyler
But I am
Robinson.
sorry you feel that way.
Candace, one question. What evidence do you need to see for you to say Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk?
That's a great question. So I actually expected in this preliminary hearing, actually, the inverse of what he was saying is true, right? So this is now the time the state is putting on their evidence. That's the purpose of this hearing, right? The state is using hearsay, but they're also putting on their evidence. So I was just expecting some sort of a slam dunk. Like, we got him on camera taking the shot. At least we have them clear. I'm definitely showed out before we even get to the trial. People are going to see and go, oh crap, like it was really Tyler Robinson. I was expecting to at least see evidence that, because I had reported early on that the source was saying that Tyler did not step foot on campus that day. It is my perspective that he had something to do with something. I do believe he was disposing clothes at this stage, at this phase. I do believe he was disposing clothes. He wasn't more suspicious, if I'm being so. Like I said, the use immunity that was given to Lance by the feds, the fact that the feds didn't ask him any questions, the fact that I spoke with Lance Twiggs' family, and they were like, it's very weird that the feds are not asking him more questions. He's exactly the person that I would imagine to be involved in some stuff. Allegedly, I'll say allegedly. But when we got to the preliminary hearing, there was not a sitting for that. I think this could be the guy. If they had handed over the discovery on the text messages, since that was their big ta-da, we've got the text messages, that would be the first thing that I would hand over. But actually, who was holding them up? Like I said, it wasn't the prosecution. They're right to say we were handing things over, and we heard the defense argue on behalf of the prosecution, saying it's not them and it's not the SBI, it's the FBI that's holding on to things. Is the FBI took everything. The FBI took the gun. The FBI took initially the screwdriver. And then when I heard testimony about the things that they found that were suspicious, example being the backpack. That's something that really bothers me. They traced it looks like he's wearing some sort of a backpack. We know that there was an abandoned backpack found at the bus stop in front of a library. And they, the FBI, this was Baker, I believe her last name is, but you might want to fact check that because I think I'm blending last names. She was the forensics for the FBI. And then she says she gets a call on the 13th and they stop testing on this backpack because they find that the backpack actually belongs to somebody on Charlie's team. But if you know the map of the layout of the campus, you're going, well, what the hell are they doing all the way up? This is nowhere near anywhere. And by the way, that's not an acceptable answer for why you just gave it back. That's like, why would you give it back? You're acting like no one's ever been killed by somebody on their team before, right? So I found that to be very strange that it was on the exact route that the alleged gunman ran, and that their excuse was, we just gave it back because we heard that this belonged to somebody on Charlie's team. So that investigation itself feels underlearned, and this is completely crazy to me that some of the artifacts that Charlie was wearing were immediately returned to Erica. That's absurd. That is absurd. Everything should be in evidence. When you learn that the car that they carried Charlie in to go to the hospital, they had immediately towed, cleaned, and back up for resale, that's absurd. That should be sitting in evidence. And any police officer that you speak to will say, or person that's been involved in a crime will say, I didn't get my stuff back for years. It had nothing to do with anything. It was just around. And they kept it into evidence until the trial was over and it has to be approved. I think somebody said by the Attorney General has to sign off on giving you those objects back. And we example Erica holding that should be in evidence. Irrespective of if you feel bad for her and think she should have have it and it's sweet.
When you're dealing with people's money, trust is everything. A strong brand presence and strategic marketing pave the way for building trust and bringing in new clients. Alpha Graphics, bring your brand to life.
I've never in my entire career heard of a paver up the dirt. So by the time he got there, the dirt had already been dug up for him to lay down pavers. That is what people are looking at and going, this is weird. There needs to be answers for why this was done. And he tells us the call came from the feds and the governor's office. UVUs washed their hands of it. And what he's saying sounds true because we heard during the testimony, one person described the regions of who was in control of everything. Mm-hmm. The feds were in control of the courtyard. So in order for anybody to have paved anything, that was federal territory, so to speak. I'm maybe not using that in the best cop term, but the feds were in control of the courtyard. So these are things that I think should be answered for. Why are we doing things differently? Keeping the evidence until we know more, until we're confident, the various decoys. I did. It just doesn't look right.
Okay, so go back to the question. So what would you need to see for you to say
something? If they had, I was expecting, here we have him, he took the shot, here it is. And then I'd be like, great, a clear image of him on the staircase where I'm like, that's definitively Tyler Robinson and he was on campus. We got nothing. We got literally nothing but hearsay of people saying.
But you basically get no case.
What?
You basically no case on planet Earth. You get the,
sure.
Oh, we got a picture.
Okay,
Here's him with the murder weapon.
Right.
Here's him taking the shot.
Most of this doesn't take place on a college campus that has surveillance everywhere.
Yeah,
one clear image of his.
But I don't understand when you're
his
asked
car plates.
If you're asked the question, what would it take to convince? It'd be the same question be asked to me, Andrew. What would take to convince you that the oppositional's
Patsy,
true, right? That he's a patsy or something like that. Just good, clear, concise evidence that's been presented, right? Right, and is being presented that there's actually some clear picture. That's what it would take for me.
Okay.
Just
I don't disagree with that.
I would change my mind.
So just to qualify this, so there is a possibility in the next few months that you may come out and say, guys, it's done. Tyler killed him.
Yeah.
So you're saying yes to that.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for the audience here. That
without question.
For you, is there anything that you could see for you to say, yeah, this guy that was a patsy.
Of course, I'm going to always follow. It's just that I don't mind people being truth seekers and justice searchers, and the internet has helped solve tons of crimes. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that, right? However, there's also people who you know, they not only don't solve crimes, but they just come up with conjecture, and what's called flooding the zone. You flood the zone with tons and tons of conspiracy based ideas, and they go nowhere from legitimate investigation. Now, I'm not even saying anybody here is purposely flooding the zone. That's not even the claim. All I'm saying is that the claims made absent, this is just me not being convinced by the state's evidence. Those become claims, and claims have to be defended. Just like mine have to be defended, yours have to be defended. And that's what we're going to get to now. Yeah.
You want to get into it? Would you guys like to take an ad break?
We'll take an ad break.
And then we'll talk Erica Kirk and TPUSA.
And the conspiracies that have been conjectured by Candace Owens in regards to this case in the Charlie.
Take a 3.5 minute break, and we'll be back soon.
All right, you guys, you have probably seen all the buzz around red light therapy lately, but what's even more compelling are the stories from people who say it completely changed their lives. One example starts with a woman named Natalia. She sat across from her medical
Find what you need faster with the in-store aisle locator in the Albertsons Market for You app.
If you've tried Sildenafil or Tadalafil, but you want something more powerful for your sex life, listen up.
What's Patrick Bet David doing here? I was excited for him. I was vouching for my guy, and I feel like he's an interviewer, not a debate moderator, primarily, right?
Right.
But he's also like, he should know, you know.
Yeah,
He's simply trying to reach clarification.
Yeah, sure.
That's not his job there.
It's not correct. So yeah, Candace is stomping. Andrew's doing. He's not winning the debate at all, but he's presenting well enough that he's not taking any serious L's that I've seen.
I don't know. He's losing on the zinger count.
He is. Yeah, he's losing on all fronts, but there's no like sniz moment, right? He hasn't really like stepped into anything.
You don't do that till the third act.
That's true. The foot cam the whole time, because that's really how you measure these
those sign language girls.
Yeah.
Just at the foot cam. It's not going his way. I don't think this is nearly the slam dunk he was hoping.
I mean, it's still a like
two things.
A lot of visibility.
He keeps trying.
It's not working.
It's not working, right?
Maybe in the third inning we'll get a pickle jar or something. Like, there's just so much potential here. Like, just throw in one sniz. Guys, don't forget we have a goal for the stream is $300,000, and we've only got $299,860 to go. If I just did my head math right. It would be. She's probably got one available that she hasn't needed to utilize yet. Yeah, Dusty is tired. Dusty was up way too late last night, and Dusty doesn't live at these hours normally.
Habitat.
But you know what? I persevere. I do it for you guys, for the fans, for the but mostly for you, and because I care about Charlie Kirk. Mostly it's because I want justice for Charlie Kirk. At least I do it on a script.
On a script.
I would debate anyone for 300,000 on any time. Yeah, for sure. Me too.
Right.
I'll take any position. You get to tell me what my position is too. I'm down.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't really know what to make. Am I crazy, or were they blaming each other for being fed boys earlier? Did they not literally?
I think there was a brief implication back and forth. I would have liked to have seen that situation devolve further into full on spy versus spy situation, but
You find out there's only one of them.
I give all the time that people could to adding me, Ahimsa. If you have not purchased yours already, you can celebrate this historic event by getting yourself a cuckable mug. Now back, they were discontinued, they're recontinued at even a discounted price, and we've got promo code pricing going on. Let me drop the link in the chat. There it is. Now for just $19, you plus shipping, you can get your own copy of the cuckable mug. Also, in addition to the $6 savings over previous offerings of this mug, if you use the promo code N1SB at checkout, you can get an additional.
Oh, and commercial we go. That's Gemini. Okay.
Couple mug, and people like myself, like Andrew and Rachel Wilson, they've got cuckable mugs on the way to their house, en route, I believe, as we speak. They'll be pleasantly surprised when the package arrives at their house. Also, if you would like to sponsor a mug for somebody like Rob Knorr, Speakeasy, anybody that we've got a mailing address for, you can do that as well. It's a whale donation that's $50 or above. Send a super chat with $50 or above and the name of who you want a mug sent to, and we can get that. On its way. Already have mugs on Mr. 13 for sponsoring those cuckable mugs. Well, I mean, 13, it wasn't me. It was 13 was, he felt like they needed it, and since they've got to come out of pocket so much money for this appearance on Candace, the least we could do is provide them with a mug.
That's funny.
There's no way they would trash it. What are you talking about? The Wilsons are far too respectful and courteous of a couple to do something as rude as trash a mug that was given for them. Correct. I do need a zippered hoodie, actually. That's correct. That is correct. Yeah. I actually could really spend a little time and build out the merch line. It's, if I do say so myself, it's kind of lackluster, but there just ain't that. There's not that many hours in the day, and there's not that much profit in merch. If he pews it and posts a video of it, I will be happy to order him another one out of my own pocket. I won't even grift it. Well, you got to touch him if you're going to do them. So I
Can
suggest
confirm.
I suggest you change your. You need to rim it.
Honey, I have a friend with benefits.
What?
Hey, Doug.
Shaq is your friend with benefits?
Yeah, 5% cashback rewards on gas, groceries, and internet.
Benefits.
This is good.
Get the Credit One Bank Platinum X5 Visa Signature. Credit One Bank for what's ahead.
Have enough commercials to fill in the commercial break. I find that a serious miscommunication between production and financing.
There's also probably some. Yeah, that's correct. But I'd imagine there's some. Hold on while I finish my third cigarette influence on the duration of these breaks.
I can't hate that.
I can't either. I'd be doing the same thing. Like, it really was probably the best. Like, her saying that no smoking thing is tactically brilliant. Like, here, let me just make you really uncomfortable.
Right out the box, you will be uncomfortable here, and there's nothing you can do about it.
What you doing over there?
Being uncomfortable.
Oh, that was a fucking can of pop. Sounded like you just chambered one.
I do that with my left hand.
All right. Like, I don't know what's going on in Georgia, but
I'll mute before I start popping caps and splitting wigs.
Let's see. We got I think we're making progress on the goal, guys. Hold on, let me see. Jody, thank you for the $10 going towards the grift. And Not Laws come in with $10 as well. Off to work. Good show. Thank you, Not Laws. This, for a socialist, he is such a good capitalist. I appreciate the support.
I have
both
noticed.
Of you. Sometimes I wonder if he
can just
dude.
Carney.
I think I caught him slipping one time. I can't remember specifically what he put in chat, but he made the most based observation I've ever heard. And I was like, hold up, bro, your white wing is showing or something like that. And he's hated me ever since. I can't even remember what it was he put in chat, but it was funny to me.
And
the reason that we smoke is because we have oral fixations because our mothers abandoned us too early.
Right there.
Not really. There's a fine love of the halfling's leaf.
You fucking nerd. Also, I know exactly what that's from, and I normally don't know your references. All right, well, so we're still waiting on
Make your browser fast.
Commercial time.
Make your browser safe. Make your browser Chrome.
Make your browser browser.
Choose Google Chrome for your computer.
Newscasters who's been doing the same show for years, and we just don't really want to talk to each other no more.
He's accusing you of saying silly things, which I could agree. I can get behind that. You
okay?
That doesn't mean that the silly things are inaccurate. Typically, the silliness is in the just absurd accuracy of the. I don't know. He might just be. I think that he's AI. Actually, got me dazzled by his
rhythm with the tism.
Sorry, I just glitched out.
Yeah, you totally did. Like, do. We're sorry. This brain cell cannot be completed as dialed. Please check your brain cell and dial again.
This brain cell.
I hope you have a smooth and easy work shift, bro. Absolutely. All right. Well, if they could get back, that'd be great. I've got to rummage through the fridge for something.
You reckon he's wearing a nicotine suit now? Like, how many patches?
That's what we might need to do. Since here we go. We're back.
We have activity.
Oh,
took you long enough. Patrick,
defending your position of the overwhelming evidence.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. You take the lead. Go forward.
Yeah. So I have a bunch of questions for you, and I want to make it super painless, right? So No traps, no gotchas. I'm just going to. I should not respond yes or no, but as long as they're not loaded, if I just directly ask them, I'm hoping that.
Have you ever wanted to see your home from space? With this free satellite Earth Maps tool, you can zoom right down to your exact address.
But I made it very clear to you via email and with you in conversation that we should be speaking. This isn't like you get to Brigitte Macron's defense teacher it, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I don't know what you're going to ask. And I'm going to answer as I see fit because I'm not.
I get it.
Yeah. Okay.
I get it.
Just so we're clear.
Usually in the debate, if something's not loaded, I'm just direct.
Because you kept saying I'm Joe Rogan. They have no evidence. They have no evidence. And now you're like, let's move away from the evidence. Let's talk about transcendentals.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, so
we can't say that for certainty.
As far as you know.
I already answered that in the first part. We can't say that for certainty. I told you the context of which they spoke about those things.
So no, as far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty until we know what other the 5 sets of prints were on.
So that would be no as far as you know.
We can't say that for certainty.
You can say no as far as I know for certain.
We can't say that for certainty. Actually,
you can say that for certainty.
if your energy here is going to be like you're my dad and you can tell me how to speak or what I'm supposed to say, you're just going to come up against the wall. I'm familiar with this debate strategy.
But I am just
yes or no. Yes or no, we're not debating anymore. We're having a conversation. So I already addressed that in the first half of this about why.
No, we're still definitely debating. This is still.
No, it's not a debate. Now the evidence. I actually already addressed this. You ask go like where you're sitting and I'm on trial. I'm not on trial.
Okay, great.
So
let's
you
talk
can
about.
Conversation
let's
as
talk
we've
about
agreed.
Was the Foreign Legion? Do you
handed over that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office?
What's your best piece of evidence?
It was told to me, somebody who is high up in the French government. I passed off that information to Tulsi Gabbard's office. I also passed it off to Trump's to probe any evidence because I don't have the power to do that. I'm not the federal government. And I would also like to say that this becomes this other piece of what you do, which is when people say this, I was told this, and this is the evidence that I have, and I'm willing to have that conversation and write the email to the correct government body that deals with this. Like I can't hack into Emmanuel Macron's bank accounts and say whether or not the information but then you go a viable death threat against you and that person definitively has the rank to be able to tell you this and you say, well, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to report that to the feds. Then I go, what's your evidence? It's like, well, I got the information and that's what I did.
Got it. I just want to make sure people. I just want to make sure I got it clear.
And that's why I said I want to know what you're doing now, because this has always been the thing. It's like we actually can't win on the overwhelming claim, so we're just going to go and bring up everything that I think can try to embarrass her. I reported exactly as I received it.
I'm not trying to embarrass you. I just want to make sure that I get your positions clear.
I have not said. Yeah, go ahead.
Now you have stated multiple times. Yes, we can pull it. I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
Can I finish the sentence?
Go ahead.
Can you give me the context of people? Charlie Kirk. I would say that there are various things that we're trying to establish, one being a motive. And since I don't believe that Tyler Robinson and his transferee is a convincing motive because
positive evidence.
I'm answering the question as I feel like I want to answer it. Like I said, you don't get to for an hour and a half.
But the question I'm asking is about positive evidence.
I'm telling you that in any case established a motive show. But the reason why it'd be an interesting question is because truthfully, Charlie's perspectives were changing on Israel.
Sure.
And he was starting to realize how much pressure was being put on not just our government to constantly fight their wars, but also being put on his organization personally. If people had come out and been honest about that, and everybody's lying and this is not true, you would probably have people that just go, that's life. People change their opinions.
I understand.
And then there was the rabid, I mean, not even that, it's like everything was about trying to convince the public how much he liked it.
So then other
Israel.
than intuition, how you feel about things, do you have any evidence Israel was involved in killing Charlie Kirk?
I have already said, and if you're watching my show and the context of what I said, this is the general sense of why people think Israel's involved. Nobody has made the claim that Israelis, there were also, obviously
Ian
Joe
Carroll
Kent
made the claim.
Well, Joe Kent, who I think would have the right to assert it, noted that there were 12 Israeli cell phones on the ground that day. I think most people would like to probe that. Now, it could be maybe they were students.
Dialer.io. Hey, just want to tell you guys, it's Andy Elliott with the Elliott Army, the Elliott Group. Number one, since I signed up with you guys on the dialer, I was pretty skeptical. I'm just going to be honest with you. Like a lot of the times that I've used dialers before in the past, they didn't fit my company right. You guys have blown my expectations. Not only have you guys worked with me to make,
which no one wants to discuss, in the Hamptons the week prior, or not the week prior, I think it was around August 5th or 6th that took place. And again, I think a thread that a lot of us would like to see.
There's no positive evidence.
Whatever you want to say, however positive, negative, however you want to say it.
Well, positive evidence
I can just
would
have
be
a conversation.
Material evidence and other evidences, which
what
would
we've
point you
said
to it.
is on our show is what we've said, which is this feels like a conspiracy building. There's no reason to lie about these things, and yet people are lying. BB ain't acting right. The Hamptons thing was weird, and the way they tried to shove the Israel narrative down our throat immediately. I mean, the day he died.
Charlie Kirk.
I've never said they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk. So how could I say that I have evidence they participated in the murder of Charlie Kirk?
Okay. So then you don't believe that they did.
I never have said that statement. So I'm not going to get you to ask me personal questions about things that I've never said on record.
Okay, fair.
Your team is sending messages in the back saying they have a video they want to play.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what the video is. Yes, you said that there's a video you want to play that Candace said she has full confidence Israel was involved.
Yep.
Yeah. He said evidence that they killed him. I said this is why people think they're involvement.
So if they have the clip, they can play the clip.
Yeah.
They're referring to a clip.
Yeah. Via who? My guess is Pierre. Erica. I think that there's a reason Pierre knew that Charlie was dead first. I think there's a reason he was a priority. How? Why? I think France and Israel are involved. In Charlie Kirk's assassination.
Okay.
I also,
with full confidence, you think that
I think Israel's
France
involved.
and Israel.
Yeah, I mean, the person that gave me that thing that I reported said that French Foreign Legion were on the ground that day. Again, this would be at a professional limitation for me to then go and probe that information that I handed over. I can't do that. I'm not being right. You keep saying positive evidence. I just asked me what I think, and I just tell you, yes, I think they are
that's
involved.
A claim.
No, I said here's what I think.
I have every right to ask you about your claim.
Yeah, but
and if there's positive evidence
in
for
this
your
statement,
claim,
I literally just said I think, and I am allowed to think. And
yeah,
you
you're
keep
allowed
saying,
to think,
do you have
but you're
positive
making a
evidence?
claim.
I have tons of positive evidence that I'm allowed to think.
I agree. You're allowed to think.
Okay. So
nobody's disputing whether or not Candace Owens is allowed to think. What I'm asking is
but
you have
what's your issue then? What is your issue with the statement?
Evidence.
I think that Israel is involved.
That's not just what you said. You said
I did say I think.
It's with full confidence.
Yes. That
you would think that if you had full
Can you have confidence
confidence
to think when you think?
if I said, for instance, I think I'm going to be late to work. Right, with full minutes away, and be there in 5. That's how you would know whether. Hang on, let me finish.
Sure.
If it was the case that I said I have full confidence I'm going to be late to work, I would say my evidence that I'm going to be is that work is 20 minutes away, right, and I have to be there in 5. So I have full confidence. That's why I would think that. So I'm asking if you think that Israel and France were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you say with full confidence, I'm just asking for the evidence, or at least
I have to walk you through why I think. I can give you something that I think with full confidence. I think with full confidence that you know you lost the substance of this debate, and now you're moving toward things that I have said that I think, which I can do. I'm
they're
allowed to think
pertinent to
that.
this debate.
Our
These
debate
are claims made about Charlie Kirk's assassination. That's the complete substance of the debate.
No, actually, would you like to remind him of what our debate claims actually were?
And would you like to remind you said I could ask you about any of these things to my heart's
feel
content?
free, but you do not get to structure how I'm allowed to reply or ask me
I'm
why
not
are you allowed to
structuring how you're
think?
allowed to reply. I'm just asking you direct questions.
I have full confidence that you do not feel that you represented your claim well. And so now what you came
That's
prepared
nice.
to
I just
do is
wanna
to
know-
present yourself like a professor of
I
fallacies.
just want to know.
And to say, you're not allowed to say that. You can't. It's
You
my
can
podcast.
say whatever you want.
Well, I
Nobody's
said it.
disputing that. I'm
It
asking.
seems like you are disputing
I'm
it.
asking
I think that
specifically
when this
why
is
you
all
think
said
that.
and done, I've already explained to you. I explained at the beginning of this
Mhm.
why I think Israel is ultimately going
France.
to be proven to have involvement in this.
Mhm.
I just explained to you in the middle, and now you're wanting me to structure the sentence or provide evidence. You don't have to. You're just allowed to think. And I've explained to you my thought process. I don't need to structure it in a sentence. If you feel like a professor today, you picked the wrong day.
Don't you think that like tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people would want to know what Candace Owens' positive evidence for why it is
No, I
that
don't-
Israel and France were involved in the most traumatic public assassination of Gen Z's life? Them like here's why
it's
I
not
think
dripping.
that.
Every time we come across any of these discussions, they're watching the same. You're bringing up, well, Candace, where's your evidence for France doing this? I just told you someone who was high ranking in the French government, right?
Whose name? Nameless.
Of course.
Of course.
I then took it to the federal government. Like you can't just go making a claim to the federal government. You get in trouble for making false statements and things of that nature. So, and then you go, well, I'm going to probe that. Well, how can you probe that? This happened
I
to
can
me.
ask you, well,
This
that's
is
not
my
what I'm probing
podcast.
specifically.
This is my podcast. I am sharing my life and my experiences and what has happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
And you're basically coming in like,
I'm asking very
you're
pertinent
sounding a
questions.
bit like a professor trying to regulate and say, Candace,
You sound very
can't say, I
defensive and
think.
like you just don't want to answer questions.
I did answer your question 3
You
times. I just
literally-
didn't say it in the way that you wanted
You
me to
just
say
kind of
it.
obfuscate. They can pull up whatever
Yeah,
clips
whatever
they want.
it is
yeah.
that you guys have prepared. So let's go.
But I would still, on this point, I just want to make sure that you have full confidence that France and Israel were involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk.
I think in
and
the
you
end,
have no evidence for it at all that you'll give us.
well, I already did tell you where it came from. Like I said, I can explain it to you. I can't understand
Did
it
that
for
same
you. So if
higher
you
up
need to-
tell you
if
that
need
he was
to-
going to kill, or that France killed Charlie Kirk, or just that you were in danger?
They said that the French Foreign Legion was involved and on the ground that day. I've already said that. You just don't like hearing it.
No,
Candace, just out of curiosity,
Yes.
when you pass down that message to a Tulsi or Trump,
Tulsi's office, yes.
Tulsi's office, are you giving them who told you that, or you're just saying, here's what I heard from
And
somebody?
I have this information.
Sure.
And of course, if they wanted to open a file on it, which I thought was quite mysterious, that Trump's office never got back to us. It was kind of weird about like from maybe they're not the correct office to. I did receive a response from Tulsi Gabbard's office, but I don't think there was ever any investigation into what I
Got it.
said.
So the call was, hey, I've been
Emailed.
told
It's-
the email.
Yes.
Email was, I've been told
I have
somebody is-
information, yeah, that the French Foreign Legion was on the ground during Charlie's assassination, and that I mean, it was a lot of information, but
Well,
like
you didn't give specifics who it was from.
not in the first email, because I figured they would like,
Perfect.
yeah,
So if they do contact you,
100,
are you
yes.
comfortable giving 100% who it is?
I would absolutely give them as much
And
information
can I
as
ask a
possible.
question? If whoever's the U.S. government, why are you not?
Yes, it's very
Respond back and say we did. That's their position.
I did.
I'm
That's
not
why I
involved.
did it in writing.
And so I'm glad that's the case
Yes.
because so if they
And
do
right
ask
away in
you,
Trump's office, his like Margot got right back to me. She said it was on his desk, so he has that. There's no.
and if you do say that and they
Mhm.
contact that individual, obviously you don't have to leak your sources here.
Mhm.
Is there enough credibility where that person would be willing to talk to them and explain to them exactly what their sources
Yes,
are? Okay. I mean, that's.
it seems reasonable. And so why he's asking me to defend that is like
I'm not. Never
I
did.
think those are two different.
asked that many times on my.
Think about that, Andrew.
What?
The fact that she emailed, she gave it, and nobody reached out to want to contact the source.
They
that she's
probably
willing
didn't
to
think it was
share.
actionable, is my guess. But even if they did think it was actionable, great. And reasonable.
Is it fair to say that this different individual, because this is a person that was involved? With TPUSA
Well, we don't
had a
know.
relationship. Like
Yeah.
this isn't just anybody. So
We don't
well,
know
then
this.
if you were in that department, wouldn't you want to even?
But how do we know? We don't
How
know.
could they
No,
if they
how-
did the information? Because it was
and
a
by the way,
long
the-
walk you and say, hey,
Huh.
what's more information? We're investigating this. And that didn't happen, which is what I raised.
No,
I
I'm
found
asking,
that,
did you send the
especially
source of
because
the
this was at
claim?
a time where they were saying that they wanted to explore every possible lead. I even texted Dan Bongino.
Yeah.
Dan Bongino. And Tulsi Gabbard's office.
Okay, so a follow up to that is the following:
Mhm.
if they contact you to say, is that specifically to the French government or Israel's involvement in the killing of Charlie?
That wasn't about
Those
Israel.
are two separate things.
That wasn't about Israel. It was
Okay,
they were
got it.
saying the French foreign, that person as a part of it was saying that it was the French Foreign Legion that was on the ground that
So
day.
I'm surprised
and
they
I
haven't
think
called you.
then I find that to be very strange too.
I do as well.
Because who would want to make a report? Like, I mean, I've never
But-
made a report with the federal
but when
government.
he
Let me ask
did-
one question.
but
Let me
when he
just
did
ask one
send
question.
it-
Mhm.
Let me just ask one question, and I'm going to bring it to you.
Sure.
The question is in regards to, I've not seen that clip, so I'm seeing it now.
Mhm.
I'm full confidence. I believe that
Mhm.
Israel and French was involved. Is that also based on a source that somebody told you that Israel was involved in the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or is that a gut feeling?
So in terms of
Then
Israel,
you
I mean, what
know,
I've said is what I've
not just think. I
do
think I'm
that
pretty cool, but
at
I
the
don't
end of
know
this,
if how big difference.
we are going to find that Israel was in many of the hard evidence that's
Find what you need faster with the
Go ahead,
in-store
Joe.
aisle locator in the Market Street For You app.
anything else that was going on in Charlie's life personally. So if we're not satisfied that Tyler Robinson did this in any way, then every alternative theory should be explored. Other evidence should be brought forward. We've done that in our capacity. Like when people keep saying she has no evidence, it's kind of crazy. I think we've broken like more stories than any news source in the world. I mean, down to pictures, details, police officers, what the dog's name was, because we're not the only people that believe there's a conspiracy here. The police officers that were involved, the many police sheriffs involved that day all believe there was a conspiracy, down to the use of conspiracy. They were, my sources at the U.S. Marshals were saying they were basically sent on a wild goose chase that day.
But do you see how you say my sources?
Am I not allowed to have sources?
Well,
Like
the thing is funny.
So is CNN allowed to have
well,
sources?
hang on. I
but
have
we can't-
sources. If I said I have sources that claim none of that's true. In fact, my sources claim that her sources are lying. My sources claim that there is none of them believe that there's a conspiracy. My sources claim all of them really think that Tyler Robinson was a lone gunman. If I just said that as hypothetical, wouldn't you say, what?
Yeah, I think what probably adds weight is like then when I drop photos of the car that no one was supposed to see is then proven in court and nobody knew those. People are recognizing that my sources are legit. When I say Charlie was scared in the last days and then I dropped the text message, which you've just learned about a couple of weeks ago, of him saying he was leaving the pro-Israel cause when everyone was lying about that, then they say, I think Candace's sources are legit. So I think what's happened is I've actually built up a rapport with my audience that it's not vibes and dreams. And that's why they keep watching my content, because like, for example, when I just the other day released the content of the shooter on the roof doing the lateral crawl, then they're going, I don't think these are just vibes. It seems like Candace's sources are legit. So I've proven myself in the market.
Yeah, I'm not sure that that would legitimize your sources as being legitimate when it comes to the idea that they all believe that there's a conspiracy. Hang on,
to PVD.
How would that legitimize? Well, it's not his debate. How would it legitimize these sources that even if it's the case that you get some court footage or some things like this, why would it legitimize that your sources are telling you all the marshals believe it's a conspiracy, all the police believe it's a conspiracy, everybody believes it? How would that legitimize any
what
of that?
I am saying to you, and you are not forced to believe it. So let me just explain what I was answering here, and I think that you understood what I was saying. Is I have, because people trust me, compiled a lot of information and presented it to the public, and this information has been proven true. We've presented photos, we have presented videos, never before seen stuff. The public has never seen it. And so what that does is your audience goes, okay, when she says that she has these sources, clearly she's telling the truth. Now, whether you would then go, well, I'm going to believe her when she says they think that there's a conspiracy, that's up to you. You cannot watch my content. I'm not here to tell you that you have to watch my content or believe everything I'm saying.
Well, don't you think questioners should get questioned as well?
By who? I'm not committing a crime, am I? By just like saying what I think and collect.
Aren't most of the people you ask questions of not actually committing crimes?
But what do you station?
Questions for you. I have questions about this in the investigation. I have questions about this. I have questions about that. You want them to answer your questions. Doesn't it seem totally fair that you answer back the questions people have for you?
Well, they're not answering our questions. So it's also fair that they don't answer them.
So you're
that's why I said Andrew Colvett should be in this chair. He's not.
But
That's
isn't that a double? But isn't that a double standard?
No, it's not, because he's not doing it.
Yeah, but what that would still be a double standard if you're requesting that he does do it, then that seems to infer that you think he owes you answers.
Oh, so inferences are allowed again?
And they never weren't. So that seems to infer that you think that he owes you answers. If that's the case, then don't you owe answers?
Yeah, well, I feel like I'm answering your questions and his questions about, I mean, I'm talking about Andrew Colvett. His position is he's a spokesperson for Turning Point USA. So when the crowd turns against Turning Point USA on the basis of a lack of information, or because there has been, I don't know, seeds sown of distrust, I would imagine, and forget answering my questions because it doesn't need to be me.
But aren't you sowing a lot of those seeds of distrust?
Well, I think they're doing a pretty good job themselves, if I'm being honest. You can blame it on Candace all you want.
Well,
people love to do that.
The thing is funny is
people act like I'm ground zero. I'll be fair with you. Ground zero of people not trusting Turning Point USA.
I think that there was some PR there. I think there was some PR there. Sure, they could have done better. Absolutely. I'm not disputing any of that. One thing, though, that I want to just directly ask you is, do you actually believe that anybody in TPUSA or Erica Kirk or Erica actually participated, had foreknowledge of, or facilitated the murder of Charlie Kirk?
I'm not going to get myself into a legal pickle here. Everything I've said is on my podcast. I think firmly that if I was the investigating officers, I would seat them all and I would ask questions. I would at this phase. I would.
Okay,
so
what does that
hypothetical,
mean? Does that mean that you do think so?
I think it was not a sufficient investigation into what we know to be true of 80% of homicides. It's usually conducted by someone you know, right? And the fact that that was never even considered, that like I said earlier, the backpack was returned.
How do you know that was never considered?
Because they gave back the backpack as just one example. They gave back the backpack. They gave back the.
That doesn't show a conspiracy.
Well, I mean, it shows that the police trusted everybody and didn't just hold things up for a second.
They ruled them out as suspects
that quickly. I'm not comfortable with that investigation. It's a pretty big organization. There's $100 million incentive. This is
what $100 million incentive.
What I'm saying is his organization, it had grown to, I think it was 100 million
plus per year.
Yeah, per year. If that's something you want back.
Yeah, but your team wants to play video. If you don't mind, there's a video they want to play of Candace said it's impossible to not believe Erica's complicit. If you guys want to play that video.
Could also just ask.
And so right now, their guys are going out and they're going to look for evidence. And then by May, which is fortunately around the corner, then she'll see what they found. So what the F is that performance? Yes, Instant did it. That right there is why it is impossible for me to think that Erica Kirk is not complicit somehow. Because what?
Those two thoughts actually don't even follow. How would it be the case that even if Erica Kirk did believe that Tyler Robinson was 100% responsible for the death of Charlie Kirk, let's just say she believed it with every fiber of her being, believed
I didn't say implicit in death. You added those two words.
Okay, it's what's she complicit in?
Yes. So sowing this narrative that Tyler Robinson is guilty. So you're chopping up clips. Like I said, you didn't have the confidence to come in
tell
debate,
me,
so
what
now
does
you're
that mean?
chopping it
What
up.
does complicit mean?
We are showing a clip of her on Barry Weiss, which I can't remember the date that she did that interview. Charlie Kirk.
In what? Yeah.
Well, if you let me finish my sentence, I could tell you that. But my point being is that then you take a look at this and you go, okay, well, this is weird. Why would you have this confidence? And then when you sit across from somebody and you say, okay, great, I want to go out there and defend you now. I want people to know that you can't say this stuff publicly, but you know more things. And she just blanks. And then she says, well, I'm going to call the lawyer. And she called the lawyer. Again, all this is on my show. So out of context clips, it's not going to work because I know what I say on my show.
Okay.
So we call her lawyer, and her lawyer says to us, she calls him on the phone, pardon me. And it's me, her, and Justin Strife. And I'm like, okay, great. What do you guys have? He goes, well, we don't have anything yet. We're not at that phase yet. And I'm like, well, what do you mean you don't have anything? He says, well, don't you know how it works? It's a probable cause hearing. So basically the state says that they're going to bring this forward and now that Tyler Robinson is guilty. And so I asked her directly, her lawyer directly, the phone's in between us. I'm like, wait, so just so I'm clear, you haven't seen. So I'm going back in my head and I'm going, okay, so why is Erica saying with such a degree of certainty, like she was sent out to convince the public and people bit, by the way. I remember even Megyn Kelly was like, let's wait. She's going to have access to things. I did think she had access to things that we didn't have. Why express that confidence to the public as opposed to just being like, we don't know yet. I feel confident he's involved. They made an arrest.
I don't understand. How would any of this make her complicit? And in what?
Well, we're looking.
This, if she believes
like,
it,
don't look
if she
anywhere
believes
else.
that Tyler Robinson killed.
I do.
Are you saying that you think she doesn't believe it?
I don't believe that at that stage she sat down with Barry Weiss that's what she believes. No, but that's my opinion.
Right, but so when you just say complicit, you just mean she believes that Tyler Robinson killed Kirk? That's it?
That's what we were talking about. That's why I said if your strategy was to dice up clips and take it out of context and make it seem like I said she was complicit.
Everything.
Yeah, but then why not just play the full thing? Like why?
Because we don't have like infinite amounts of time, I'm guessing. You probably don't want to watch.
Well, I'm going to go back to my theory that you didn't feel confident that you could defend your claim that it was overwhelming evidence. So now you're trying to move towards doctored clips and getting me to respond to it.
There's no doctored anything. I'm just making sure that we got this right.
Yes,
that what you're actually saying is that Erica is just complicit in believing it.
When I re-examine her actions is why it's that you guys make it seem like I'm ground zero. People thought Erica was sus from day I forgive him. And I was not a part of that. I did not lean into that. I did not contribute to that. I was getting actually terrible messages from my family. And being like, Candace, you feel about her that for sure. And the fact that she lied to me. So I sat across from her and, you know, I wanted to have that conversation publicly, but they're probably grateful they didn't do it publicly.
Hello, I'm Mayor Tim Keller. We'd love for you to join us for this year's State of the City address on Saturday.
People only lie when they're trying to.
No.
List of lies that we've been told by we can.
I don't know why I'm lagging and shit, but that's it. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I just hate for that fun. Blah, 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 I swear this thing. Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, I hate to spoil that fun, but I'm lagging. But that's it. And that's all. I hope you had a ball. CARNY'S RIDE is about to be over. Don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, hit that notification bell to let you know when the next show is on. Till next time, you guys have a good one. Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to CARNY'S RIDE. Hit that like and subscribe. Sit down and shut the fuck up. Welcome to CARNY'S RIDE. Lights out, mask on the hole. Damn thing's been cursed since the day I was born. Everyone's fake, smiling like they ain't scared. Think candy and lies. Knives in the back, you came for a show. Now you're stuck. Step in the ring if you think you're tough. Bet your whole damn soul you ain't built for this stuff. I'll ride in rain or snow. If you can't hang, get the fuck on. Everything you got blood on it. Built this tent from the bricks on the wall. Everyone's looking at me, one for me to fall, but I keep riding. Been walking this mile for a long damn while now. Get the fuck out of stay and burn with the rest of us. Now it's time to tell you my story.